5th, I'm Debbie Monterrey.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Plenty of sunshine today and warmer this afternoon, high 59.
I'm Sean Malone. The mayor and the Board of Aldermen are at odds and blaming each other for the fallout over who can name an interim sheriff. I've got that story coming up.
Two businesses near where last May's tornado ripped through St. Louis are closing their doors.
I'm Scott Jagal.
Nicolas Maduro was a bad actor.
With thoughts from KMOX political analyst John Hancock on the situation in Venezuela.
We'll get the latest from Cardinals president of baseball operations, Chaim Bloom. How's the trade market looking for this week? Plus, a wild finish to the NFL regular season.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Pfizer.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro and his wife are set to make their first appearance in federal court in New York, 2 days after they were captured in a stealth U.S. military operation in Caracas. The Trump administration accuses them of taking part in a narco-terrorism conspiracy. Legal contributor Jessica Levinson.
This case could be a defining test of how far U.S. courts can go in holding foreign leaders accountable.
President Trump says Venezuela's interim president may, quote, pay a very big price if she doesn't fall in line with U.S. demands. Mr. Trump outlined his agenda for the South American nation to reporters on Air Force One last night.
Right now, what we want to do is fix up the oil, fix up the country, bring the country back, and then have elections.
Democrats in Congress are slamming the Venezuela operation. Connecticut's Democratic Representative Jim Hines tells CBS's Face the Nation.
Clearly not legal under the Constitution, because though presidents of both parties have argued against this, the Constitution is really pretty clear that the representatives of the people get to be consulted and ultimately approve military activity. That has not happened here at all.
New details on the late-night raid that ended with the Maduros in U.S. custody. Correspondent Charlie D'Agata is in Washington.
We're learning more about the operation spearheaded by Delta Force commandos. The New York Times reporting as many as 80 Venezuelans were killed, including most of Maduro's personal security team. Several U.S. troops suffered injuries in the firefights, none life-threatening.
In an interview with The Atlantic, President Trump repeats his intentions to take over the largest island in the world.
I'm Vicki Barker at the Foreign Desk. The leaders of Denmark and Greenland have condemned President Trump's latest threat to take over the self-governing Danish territory. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen insisting the U.S. has no right to annex any Danish possessions. Greenland's Prime Minister calling Trump's words not just wrong, but disrespectful.
It's retirement day for the president's staunch ally turned foe from Georgia, UVA political analyst Larry Sabato.
It's hard to summarize someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene. She actually hasn't changed much on many issues. You could not find a conspiracy theory that at one time or another she has not embraced.
The Steelers sneak into the playoffs.
The kick is no good! It is wide right!
The Ravens missed a field goal as time expired on NBC, giving Pittsburgh a 26-24 win. They'll host Houston in a wild card game a week from tonight. This is CBS News.
CBS News Radio is your home for breaking news. With our team of reporters around the country and the world, we give you the coverage you can trust.
It is 6:03, and right now in downtown St. Louis, we've got clear skies and 34 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. A beautiful forecast. We'll check it all out for you with AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg this morning. In the news, we continue to stay on top of the mess at the Sheriff's Department. The power to appoint the interim sheriff of St. Louis City has turned into a petty fight between the alderman and the mayor.
Mayor Kara Spencer blames Aldermanic President Megan Green for not sticking to their agreement to join in the city's lawsuit, which argues the mayor has the authority to name an interim sheriff.
President of the board had decided to go a different way and instead intervened in the lawsuit in a confrontational manner. And that was against the agreement that we had made.
However, KMOX has reviewed documentation that shows the mayor and city councilor initially said in October the Board of Aldermen get to choose the interim sheriff, only to backtrack, calling it complicated, and eventually saying in their legal filings it is the mayor's responsibility. Mayor Spencer also blames lack of communication between President Green and the board, causing a rift between her and the aldermen. KMOX spoke to over 2/3 of those aldermen. Some blame the mayor, some blame President Green, but a majority say neither is blameless. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
While the St. Louis mayor and the Board of Aldermen fight over who has the authority to appoint the interim sheriff, a third entity is weighing in. Attorney General Catherine Hanaway is seeking a temporary restraining order against the city to block them from naming the interim sheriff. KMOX legal analyst Brad Young tells KMOX, depending on how the law is interpreted, the governor could be the one who picks the interim sheriff.
Under the Missouri Constitution, the governor has a general appointment authority unless otherwise noted by law.
Young says the law says the county board of commissioners would normally choose the interim sheriff.
But since St. Louis is not in a county, that may not apply. Also, the Board of Aldermen is not necessarily a board of commissioners.
Young does say, in his opinion, the Board of Aldermen should count as a board of commissioners.
Much like the Democrats, the St. Louis City Republican Central Committee also hopes to pick their nomination in the sheriff's special election at their meeting next week. Chair Kirk Hilsinger says with St. Louis being a predominantly Democratic city, he would be open to a candidate who is not a registered Republican running under their ticket.
Hayden is doing a far better job than Alfred Montgomery has been doing. So being an actual Republican in the environment that we have in St. Louis City is not necessarily a requirement.
Their next meeting is January 8th.
Some students in the region still have today off of school, but students at Jennings High School won't be returning to the classroom until January 12th. Repairs are ongoing at the school after a pipe burst during the winter break. Water was flowing out the doors of the school when district staff and the Jennings Fire Department arrived on the scene. Students will do virtual classes tomorrow through the rest of the week.
2 restaurants on Delmar are closing their doors for good due to a slow recovery from May's tornado. Steve Hot Dogs and the Fountains Delmar locations will close down, with owner Danny Eichenhorst telling KMOX they are unable to remain open any longer with their regular customers displaced.
So a lot of people that are living in hotels are living with family. And unfortunately, it was the people that were living in that area before the storm that were our bread and butter customers.
Eichenhorst says she understands officials have their hands full, but says the recovery process has been too slow and not enough is being done to support struggling businesses.
On the musical side of things, Steve's Hot Dogs founder, Steve Ewing, has a new project for 2026, a weekly residency at Broadway Oyster Bar. Starting this week, Ewing will perform every Wednesday in a series called Steve Ewing and Friends, in which he'll share the stage with a variety of musicians in collaborative performance. Ewing, of course, is the frontman for The Urge and a presence on the local scene with his solo efforts as well.
A new environmental rule for Illinois hotels is expanding this year.
The start of a new year means hotels across Illinois can no longer provide small single-use plastic bottles like shampoo, conditioner, and soap unless a guest specifically asks for them. The requirement comes from legislation signed into law in 2024 and sets a minimum size of 6 ounces for plastic toiletry containers. The goal is to cut down on plastic waste by pushing hotels toward refillable dispensers or largeable reusable containers. Larger hotels have already been following the rules since last summer, but starting now, the ban applies to every hotel in the state, including smaller properties. Hotels that don't follow the law will first receive a warning. Repeat violations could lead to fines of up to $1,500.
That is WBBM's Carolina Garibay.
Firefighters are on the scene of a building fire in Venice, Illinois. That fire broke out early this morning in a 3-unit building on Bauckham Avenue. Firefighters from Venice, Madison, and Fairmont City responded. So far, no injuries reported, according to Fox 2.
The Business Desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. If the holidays being over has you down, the next holiday season officially kicks off tomorrow. It's the 12th night. St. Louis Mardi Gras and their ceremonial start kicks off tomorrow night at the South Broadway Athletic Club when civic leaders, parade crews, and Soulard neighbors petition the board to host Mardi Gras season.
Following their decision, which is always presumed to be yes, a new Rex, king of the Mardi Gras celebration, will be crowned. After that, there's a winter carnival on January 17th, a Cajun cook-off on the 31st. The bulk of the activities are in February, with the Purina Pet Parade and Wiener Dog Race February 8th and the Grand Parade on February 14th.
It's one of our biggest draws. You know that? In terms of tourism, it's
I
really
know.
amazing.
And, some people have a hard time letting go of the holidays, so I just wanted to remind people There's always something to celebrate.
Yeah, have some fun. 6:09, we'll have traffic and weather next.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
Let's ring in the new year by finally checking off something that actually matters. Your old videotapes and photos are fading more every year. VCRs are disappearing, and the clock is ticking to save your family's most important memories. Hi, I'm Adam Baselogger.
And I'm Nick Mako. We started Legacy Box to help you preserve your memories by converting all your videotapes, photos, and film reels into digital files. And this year, it's easier than ever.
Introducing our biggest kit yet, able to hold up to 80 videotapes or film reels or 2,000 photos. It's perfect for big collections. You can even send in old DVDs, memory cards, flip phones, or early generation iPhones.
Legacy Box is truly the easiest New Year's resolution you'll ever keep. Just fill your box and send it in. As the world's largest digitizer of home movies and photos, all work is done in the U.S., and we're trusted by over 1 million families.
Start the new year right by rescuing the moments you haven't watched in years. Go to legacybox.com/radio for an incredible 55% off. That's legacybox.com/radio for 55% off.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
6:11, time for traffic and weather on this Monday morning. The weather is going to be pretty nice this week. Hopefully traffic will follow suit as everybody gets back to work and school. Let's get the latest from Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the only place we have trouble, Debbie, is on northbound Highway 270 right now. This crash at Doherty Ferry. In fact, there's I think a spin-off crash now as well. There are 2 different incidents because the first one, only the left lane's getting by, but at the second incident, it's like the 2 or 3 left lanes are open. So you're still funneled down to 1 lane. It's just they keep changing my vantage point on it. North 270 is a solid jam at 44 right now up to that crash at Doherty Ferry. And there's also an incident westbound 64 on the exit to 94 blocking one of those exit lanes. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, plenty of sunshine today and noticeably warmer this afternoon, high 59. Increasing clouds tonight, though 48. Those clouds give way to some sun tomorrow, the high 57. Wednesday, mostly sunny and pleasant, the high 61. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Currently, we're looking at a clear sky, 34 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It is 6:12, and Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife are expected in a New York federal courtroom at 11 o'clock this morning Central Time after being captured in Caracas over the weekend. We get a preview from CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson.
The charges themselves are largely not new. Back in 2020, the Department of Justice accused Maduro of leading a so-called narco-terrorism conspiracy, alleging that he used state power to facilitate large-scale cocaine trafficking into the United States. What is new is the posture of the case. For the first time, the sitting president of Venezuela is physically before a U.S. judge.
Maduro and his wife are currently being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York.
Virginia's Senator Tim Kaine says he'll force a vote this week to block further military action in Venezuela. What does KMOX political analyst John Hancock think about the situation?
Hancock says he doesn't have a problem with the Trump administration capturing and imprisoning Venezuela's president.
Nicolas Maduro was a bad actor, as was his predecessor, Hugo Chavez.
But Hancock says the military action without congressional approval sets a dangerous precedent going forward, and there are already bad precedents with regards to the U.S. installing regimes in other countries.
We just have gone through this in Afghanistan and Iraq. You know, these things often don't end well. I hope there's a long-term plan here. I don't sense that there actually is.
He says it's become clear President Trump isn't guided by a set of core principles. He's guided by what's best for the United States right now. Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
Republican Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene's resignation from Congress takes effect today.
Marjorie Taylor Greene's resignation from Congress really locks in what's been a very public and bitter breakup between her and President Trump, who not that long ago was her closest political ally. It also chips away at House Republicans' already narrow majority. Greene has told CBS News that the split wasn't just about one thing, but a series of fights, especially over issues like transparency and affordability. She's also pointed repeatedly to her support for releasing the Epstein files and her frustration that Republicans didn't have a clear plan on healthcare costs or the broader affordability issue. Patrick McGuire, CBS News, Washington.
Greene's resignation will shrink the Republican majority in the House of Representatives to just 6 seats.
Each week on KMOX, Chaim Bloom, Cardinals president of baseball operations, speaks exclusively with us. And yesterday, some comments on the record about Nolan Arenado and where things stand with the Cardinals third baseman.
Yeah, obviously this is an interesting situation. I mean, first of all, I believe that Nolan's going to the Hall of Fame. There are not that many people you really single-digit number of third basemen who have accomplished what he has on both sides of the ball. That I think his resume speaks for itself, and he will deserve that honor whenever it comes to him, as I believe it will. We all agree we're at a point both where we are and where he is, where it just makes sense to find a different fit, and so we've been working on that. Obviously, he's still with us, so that hasn't happened yet. But I've been asked about this a couple times this offseason, actually, including by Greg when I was on MLB Network at the winter meetings. And I don't feel any differently than I did at the beginning, that we do think it would be ideal for everybody to find that different fit, but it obviously has to be something that makes sense for everybody. And we have not found that yet, but I don't feel any differently than I did early in the offseason on, both that it makes sense and also that we will find it at some point.
We will stay on top of it on KMOX, the Gas House Gang, and Sports on a Sunday Morning with Chaim Bloom every Sunday at 11:30. Meantime, we are also focusing on the NFL playoffs. And last night, it ended this way in Pittsburgh. The Ravens with a chance to win the division with one kick as time expired.
This will be a 44-yard attempt. It will come from the middle of the field. Here's the snap, the spot. The kick is on the way. It is no good. He missed it. It's wide to the right. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have won the division. The Steelers are going to the playoffs.
A crushing loss for the Baltimore Ravens. Tyler Loop missing the field goal as time expired, and the Steelers advance to the playoffs. They will play on Monday night, and they will host a playoff game against the Houston Texans. That's how things will transpire Wild Card weekend. It'll lead off with a Saturday afternoon game at 3:30, the Rams at Carolina, followed by Green Bay at Chicago. Sunday at noon, Buffalo at Jacksonville, 3:30 San Francisco at Philadelphia, 7 o'clock Sunday night, the Chargers at New England. The college football playoff looks this way this week. The semifinals starting Thursday night at 6:30, Miami and Ole Miss will go at it in the Fiesta Bowl for a chance to get to the national championship game. And on the other side, it'll be Oregon and Indiana playing at 6:30 in Atlanta in the Peach Bowl. Tonight is the FCS National Championship. Illinois State and Montana State will play at 6:30 on ESPN. That game is in Nashville. Good luck to the Redbirds. We have been close with them for many years. And the NHL will get rolling this week again for the Blues as they take on the Blackhawks. Last night, how about the SIU Salukis getting a nice win on the road at Belmont, 68-67. Valley's going to be an interesting run here next 2 months. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
KMOX, celebrating 100 years. Presented by Purina, your pet, our passion. Now, a KMOX pioneer.
Few voices in KMOX history created more joy and laughter than Jack Carney.
With his sharp wit, creative segments, and effortless storytelling, Carney turned the Jack Carney Show into one of the most beloved programs in St. Louis radio. His daily puns, long-form jokes, and playful exchanges kept listeners in their cars, sometimes long after they'd reached their destination.
This is the Saturday Morning Comedy Show, and I'm Jack Carney. Oh, I feel so good. You ever do that in the morning? Very rarely. Might be the mattress.
My bed has no mattress.
Well, then, no wonder you've got that funny waffle look on your tuchus there. You've been sleeping right on the spring.
Carney's warmth and spontaneity redefined morning radio, proving that great broadcasting could be smart, unpredictable, and irresistibly fun. Jack Carney, a KMOX pioneer. Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code RAIN to get up to a $5 per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RAIN to get up to a $5 per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RAIN.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 6:20. This is Total Information AM. Let's get you updated on your ride in and the weather as well. Shake off the cobwebs for a lot of you. I know it's been kind of a long time since you've had to go back to work or school. So let's see if there's anything you need to worry about drive-wise from Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, certainly North 270, Debbie, right now with the crash. We've had multiple crashes. North 270, there were two different ones at Doherty Ferry. One of them ended up being a drug overdose, I believe, as one of the incidents. Anyway, the only left lane is open past the one crash we've got at Doherty Ferry, and then there's another one just north of the overpass. So the end result is we're jammed back to about Gravois. In fact, they just cleared a minor crash to the shoulder, North 270 at 44 as well. Eastbound 64 east of Prospect, they're reporting debris in I believe it's the right lane, so be careful there. Westbound 64 on the exit to 94, we have another incident involving a motorist, not sure, maybe a medical condition there. So one of the lanes on the exit ramp is blocked. Westbound 64 onto 94. Northbound 55, just some volume between Bayless and Weber right now if you're headed in that way to work. But otherwise, the rest of these highways are in good shape for you on both sides of the river. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And as for the weather, AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg says it's a beautiful week. Sunshine, warm afternoon, high 59 today, low 48 tonight. Tomorrow, high 57 again. Clouds give way to some sunshine. Wednesday, sunny and pleasant, high 61. Get a little rain Thursday and maybe Friday with temperatures still remaining in the low 60s. It's 34 right now.
The news continues at 6:22. Many people vow to exercise more in the new year, and local gyms always see a surge in new members, but it gets harder and harder to keep in shape as you get older. Nutrition and fitness expert Patricia Greenberg is the author of It's Okay to Be Old.
You know, people saying, well, you're 40, you shouldn't be running anymore. You shouldn't be walking around in that outfit. Or you've only got a couple of good years left. You know, that kind of lingo that was directed at people who were as young as 40, 45. And I thought, that's crazy. I was just hitting my stride. I started running marathons in my 30s. And people were saying to me in my 50s, aren't you getting a little too old for that? And so I thought about it and I said, I'm really start to research all of this information about what it means to age, what it means to get older. And it took about 18 years to write this book because I spent extensive time and energy researching what it means to be old. So the title, It's Okay to Be Old, Thoughtful Acceptance of Your Age, is a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but it's really designed to let people know that it's okay no matter what age you are.
So to the practical advice.
As you get older, you have to slow down. Okay, so what does that mean? That means you have to pay attention to what's bothering you and what's harder and make that modification. But it doesn't make you slow and it doesn't make you an unacceptable part of society, right? 100% your eyesight declines. One of the biggest issues that aging adults have over 55, cataracts set in. Your capacity to lose weight diminishes. Your heart may have some considerations as you age. But in the world we live in now, most of it is manageable. And one of the things about thoughtful acceptance of your age is approaching it differently. Yes, I'll still exercise. I will still go out and do the things I want to do, but I'll do them at an easier pace. And that in no way, shape, or form makes you less than. That's really what I want to emphasize. It's a shift, it's a moderation, but it doesn't take away who you are in any way, shape, or form.
She says that is not a message many of us get.
We're all being bombarded all day and all night about you need to work out 2 hours a day. You need to eat perfectly. You can't do this. You can't do that. You should do this. You should do that. And even if you're doing a quarter of what you're being told in the media, you're doing great. So really the idea is nutrition is eating healthy most of the time, having fruits and vegetables at every meal, keeping your alcohol down to a minimum. And my recommendation is 1 or 2 glasses of wine or 1 or 2 beers a week. Exercise, fitness, movement, whatever name you want to give it, whatever term you want to give it, just move every day. My recommendation is yes, you should do strength training. Yes, you should do cardiovascular. You should know how to execute a sport because it engages the brain. But here's what I always tell everybody. If you go for a nice, brisk walk, it covers all the bases. We got to activate. We've got to get all the muscles involved, the heart, the lungs. Walking is the perfect exercise, and brisk walking, that helps too, getting the heart rate up a little. That really gives you everything you need.
Months after being diagnosed with a neurological brain disorder, Billy Joel has gotten back on stage for a night in South Florida.
It happened at a 30th anniversary concert for the village of Wellington, Florida, near West Palm Beach. The headline performer was a Billy Joel cover band called Turnstiles, named for one of his early albums. Guess who showed up on stage and then sat at the band's piano? Video shows Billy Joel singing Big Shot and We Didn't Start the Fire in top form and smiling. Joel has been off stage since being diagnosed with a brain disorder that was affecting his balance. Reportedly, he asked permission to join the band on stage and joked that he really hadn't planned on working Friday night. Peter King, CBS News, Orlando.
A health scare for a Hollywood actress.
We're going, Mommy. We're going on vacation, baby.
Lost star Evangeline Lilly says she suffered brain damage after she fainted and landed face first on a boulder in Hawaii in May. The 46-year-old says scans confirm almost every area of her brain is functioning at a decreased capacity. In the spring, Lilly revealed in a Substack essay she suffered from fainting spells since she was a little girl. She says her new focus is reversing the damage. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
It's 6:27. Time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. We all procrastinate. We put things off, confident we'll have time later. Well, one who procrastinates in choosing will inevitably have their choices made for them by circumstance. Could be an illness or even a death. And it happened to me. I was widowed at 41. It could happen to you. If you procrastinate and fail to plan for your future, for your children, circumstances and the courts will make your plans for you without your input. Eamon Gantner and Capriano help thousands of families plan for their future now. We can be your personal attorney too, guiding you with a will, trust, powers of attorney, Medicaid, and VA. You may delay, but time does not. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, YourEstateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
The news of 2025.
The federal government will now resume normal operations.
November.
SNAP recipients should see their benefits restored quickly.
A lone gunman raised a firearm and ambushed these members of the National Guard.
A targeted shooting of 2 National Guards members.
The Epstein bill.
The things that have been released have been heavily redacted.
85-year-old Nancy Pelosi, she's finally calling it quits.
For all the news of 2026, stay with 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 2026 and it's time to get your home zero resified by calling our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $119 plus a free hallway, and take 15% off regularly priced services when you mention the KMOX special. ZeroResSTL.com.
It is 6:30, and right now we've got clear skies, 34 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. We also have an issue Roger Brand's keeping an eye on, overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, no change there, unfortunately, Tom and Debbie. Northbound 270 at Doherty Ferry. We still have this. Well, we've had 2 crashes in the area, or one, medical case and a crash, but whatever it is, still just the left lane initially getting through North 270 at the Doherty Ferry overpass. So traffic's jammed back almost midway between Tesson Ferry and Gravois, headed up that way. And don't forget, we had a crash right near 44 as well, a minor one that they already cleared to the shoulder. So plenty of jam traffic on North 270, basically north of Tesson Ferry all the way to Doherty Ferry. Other than that, we're getting more volume on the highways, but the rest of them don't look bad. The only other place seeing delays really is northbound 55, some slower stuff now from the Union Road overpass up through Virginia, just kind of busy and off the pace as you run through that work zone. Illinois Interstate still look great. Headed downtown for the bridges. I'm not seeing any issues there as of yet. Next update at 6:40 from the overhead door company at St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather-wise, it's going to be pretty warm this week. Today, a high of 59 with plenty of sunshine. Tomorrow, clouds giving way to more sunshine and a high of 57. 61 on Wednesday, 64 on Thursday. Could see a couple of showers on Friday. Right now, clear skies and 34 downtown.
It's 6:31. The way Missouri law is written, it's not entirely clear who has the authority to name the interim sheriff in St. Louis City. KMOX legal analyst Brad Young says the Constitution doesn't explicitly say who holds that authority, but in St. Louis's situation, there is a catch.
The statutory and the constitutional authority in Missouri applies and points to counties, but the city of St. Louis is not in a county. So at this point, there is some ambiguity.
2 businesses near where last May's tornado ripped through St. Louis are closing their doors, with the owners telling KMOX they can't hold out during the lethargic recovery any longer. Steve's Hot Dogs and the Fountain on Delmar will shut down permanently. Owner Danny Eichenhorst sounding the alarm.
There needs to be some attention and some aid given to these neighborhoods and to these businesses to ensure that these places remain open before it's too late.
She does acknowledge that local, state, and federal officials have their hands full with the recovery, but says too many of their local regulars aren't receiving funding or insurance payouts quickly enough. She adds those who have gotten funding are having a hard time finding contractors to make the needed repairs to their homes.
KSDK is packed up and moved into its new studios, becoming the latest news organization to leave downtown. Mayor Kara Spencer says she's saddened by the move and adds they are working to fix the issues facing downtown.
We're looking at addressing some of the, the other properties or businesses downtown to really improve the experience of being downtown.
KSDK will be staying in the city with their new studios located south of Forest Park.
Waymos were spotted in the St. Louis area this weekend, with a few downtown, not far from KMOX's studios. Waymo is an autonomous taxi company. However, the Waymos spotted did have drivers operating those vehicles. Waymo announced months ago they intend to expand into St. Louis and other cities, but would begin with a driver behind the wheel before implementing their autonomous fleet.
We're following coverage in New York. Nicolas Maduro is being escorted to a New York courthouse in transit at the moment. We will continue to follow that story this morning on Total Information AM 634 News, sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your Money Minute next.
For 100 years, you've welcomed KMOX into your cars, your kitchens, and your daily routines.
You've trusted us through breaking news, championship celebrations, and the stories that shaped our city.
You've listened during moments of joy and leaned on us when times were uncertain.
From overnight shifts to early mornings, from one generation to the next, you made KMOX part of your life.
From everyone at KMOX, thank you, St. Louis, for 100 unforgettable years.
KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Since we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see and hear lots of lawyer ads. It seems that most are bragging on what they got their clients. But be careful. If you heard that someone sold their car for $500,000, you would be impressed. But if you later learned that it was a rare $10 million Ferrari, would you say that person got screwed? And that's before you even know if it's true. Who is fact-checking? And how much went to medical bills and lawyers' fees? If you want to get an idea what your case may be really worth, visit forthepeople.com and go to settlements and verdicts. You will see what a law firm like ours is capable of. And fact-check for yourself. All that glitters is not gold. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason. We won big, a lot. At Morgan & Morgan, we represent consumers. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Brought to you by Eamon Gantner and Capriano, yourestatematters.com.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Oil companies are on the rise after President Trump says the U.S. plans to run Venezuela. Chevron is the only American oil major currently operating in the nation under special permission, and shares are soaring. However, the company says it is premature to speculate about future business activities. ConocoPhillips and Exxon are also gaining. Overall, stocks are heading for a higher open. S&P futures are up 21 points. Dow futures rising 34. Traders are looking ahead to the December jobs report this Friday. Economists estimate 59,000 were added to the payrolls last month, which would cap one of the weakest years for employment growth since 2009. And Saks is said to be looking to line up a loan of as much as $1 billion to keep its doors open. The luxury department store has been struggling with lackluster sales and inventory issues. The chain operates its flagship Saks Fifth Avenue stores, along with Bergdorf Goodman and Neiman Marcus. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here for FanDuel, the #1 sportsbook in America. And I want to remind you, the wild card round is here, so FanDuel is turning on playoff mode. All customers get a profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day, and each game day during the wild card round, you'll find a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts waiting for you in the app. So you pick the way that you want to. Pick the matchups you believe in. So let's say you're like me and you like the Rams matchup this week, or Josh Allen and the Bills maybe finish slow, but you think they've got a run in them. Take your shot. Take your shot on that. Maybe take your shot on an upset, or build a parlay that fits the moment, and then you apply your profit boosts and go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So all you have to do is visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Remember, 21 and older and present in Missouri to play. Opt-in is required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
What's up, everybody? I'm Nick Costos, and watching sports isn't a hobby, it's a lifestyle. And my show is not a job, it's a passion. From the NFL playoffs to the NBA and everything in between, celebrate sports with me every day on You Better You Bet, from 9 a.m. to noon Eastern. Download the Odyssey app now and listen to Westwood One Sports from anywhere. It's You Better You Bet with me, Nick Costos, live and interactive Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to noon Eastern, presented by BetMGM.
Al Arbor, Barrett Jackman, and Alexander Steen celebrate the newest inductees into the St. Louis Blues Hall of Fame, presented by First Community during a pregame ceremony on January 13th when the Blues take on the Hurricanes. Be sure to get here early to honor the legends and be one of the first 10,000 fans through the gate to receive a Blues Hall of Fame Class of 2026 banner courtesy of First Community. Get your tickets today at stlouisblues.com.
This holiday season, when you get them Steel, batteries are included. Buy select battery tool sets and get a free extra battery. Visit steelusa.com for gift ideas and seasonal savings. Happy holidays from Steel. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
It's men's Billikens basketball action Wednesday night as they face VCU. Pregame 5:45, tip at 6 on your home for Billikens basketball. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
We'll get you to traffic here in less than a minute, but federal records are determining which of Illinois' most prolific political donors have spent millions to get their preferred candidates elected in 2026.
The March primary is still 10 weeks away. However, accessing federal data, the Daily Herald found 5, 6, and even 7-figure contributions have been flowing. Contributors include Governor J.B. Pritzker and his wife, Lake Forest's Uline family, and Oak Brook's Janet Duchessois. One of the big donations so far this cycle, the Ulines donated $7 million to Conservative Political Action Committee Restoration of America, along with $4 million to a committee called Fair Courts America. Haley Hansen, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Once again, Venezuelan Nicolas Maduro, who was captured 2 days ago, is now being transported to a New York courthouse. We will follow that for you this morning. In the meantime, Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, things are doing better at Doherty Ferry on North 270, Tom, but I still see flashing lights out here. This traffic reports the service of S&L Coins, so the right lane may still be blocked northbound 270, just north of Doherty Ferry. Hard to tell from my vantage point, but they're still on the scene with flashing lights there. We have a jam approaching Tesson Ferry most of the way to Big Bend, and then it's slow through Doherty Ferry now on northbound 270. Northbound 55 is a little busier, backed up from the Union Road overpass up to about Weber, and from there it's slow up to Holly Hills. Other than that, the South County run, the rest of the highways aren't bad. Seeing a little slowdown eastbound 70 between 270 and the Rock Road. Next update is 650 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
S&L Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call S&L. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. S&L Coin.
Looks like you can put the parka away for a while anyway. Let's get the latest weather details from AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
It's definitely going to get progressively milder. In fact, we're going to see a nice jump from the 40s of yesterday to the upper 50s today with lots of sunshine. There'll be an increase in clouds tonight, but those clouds will probably help to keep temperatures up into the upper 40s for overnight lows. The clouds will thin out. We'll get some sunshine tomorrow, our high 57. A mostly sunny day on Wednesday. It's probably the best day of the week, although today we'll give it a run for its money. Wednesday's high 61. Now, clouds up Thursday. An area of low pressure goes by to our north and west. That'll mean a balmy day with rain at times. The breeze will pick up, will be in the mid-60s. Low 60s on Friday behind that storm system with clouds and breaks of sun, but still a risk for a couple of showers. It should turn a little bit cooler as we go into the weekend. Right now, it's 34 at St. Peter's, 33 in Florissant, clear 36 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has arrived at a New York courthouse, his first appearance in an American courtroom. He and his wife expected to appear at noon Eastern today, 11 St. Louis time, before a judge in New York accused of narco-terrorism and drug trafficking. And the Trump administration used those criminal charges to justify capturing Maduro and removing him to U.S. soil. We will have much more on that story from CBS News.
It is 6:43, and a major restaurant chain is altering its menu to better cater to people on weight loss drugs. We get more from Chris Sedens.
Drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy are impacting the way restaurant chains feed their diners these days. Olive Garden is now offering reduced-priced, smaller portions with more protein.
We're seeing that people want to eat healthier. And for a lot of people, that means high protein, high fiber. And those happen to be the same things that GLP-1 users are looking for. And so what we're seeing, I think, is a convergence of a number of trends, including GLP-1s and restaurants increasingly catering to them.
That's Dina Shanker of Bloomberg. She says GLP-1 users actually spend a bit more at restaurants. And while some people might skip Olive Garden altogether because of their large portions, she says now people have a good reason to go there.
Health officials fear another spike in flu cases now that the holidays are behind us.
Several states saw record numbers of flu cases in December. Infectious disease specialist Dr. Monica Gandhi at the University of California, San Francisco, says the flu likely spread even more during all those holiday gatherings.
Give it 2 more weeks, then hopefully it'll start coming down.
She says if you do catch the flu, Tamiflu can help.
This can really reduce your duration of symptoms and make you feel a lot better.
Dr. Gandhi says it's not too late to get a flu shot. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Body cam video from a fatal police-involved shooting at Lambert Airport has been made public. St. Louis County Police releasing it Friday with audio. That incident happened early morning, November 21st, inside Terminal 1 at the Metrolink station hallway. Officers encountered a man wielding a knife, later identified as 31-year-old Darius Kennedy. When he ignored orders to drop the knife, he advanced on one officer who opened fire. Kennedy was then forced to the ground. Here's a clip from the footage, followed by Captain Tony Cavaletti explaining what happened.
Put your hands up now. Upload your head off. Shots fired, shots fired, shots fired.
One officer deployed a taser, striking Mr. Kennedy, but was ineffective. Mr. Kennedy, who was still armed with a knife, turned and ran in the direction of another police officer. That officer fired a service weapon, striking Mr. Kennedy.
Kennedy died at the scene. County police say they're conducting a thorough investigation into the use of force.
This will be a 44-yard attempt. It will come from the middle of the field. Here's the snap, the spot. The kick is on the way. It is no good. He missed it. It's wide to the right, and the Pittsburgh Steelers have won the division. The Steelers are going to the playoffs.
That is how the NFL regular season ended last night on Westwood One. Tyler Loop with the season on the line. A 44-yard field goal attempt goes wide, and the AFC North title is awarded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They will host a playoff game coming up on Monday night. That's how the NFL playoff picture looks, with the Rams and the Carolina Panthers meeting Saturday at 3:30. Carolina won the NFC South after Atlanta beat New Orleans. That put Carolina, Tampa Bay, and Atlanta in a 3-way tiebreaker. It goes to Carolina. Green Bay and Chicago, that old rivalry, will resume Saturday night in the other playoff game that day. And then we look at the AFC with Buffalo and Jacksonville going at it down in Jacksonville at noon. San Francisco and Philadelphia in the NFC Sunday at 3:30. And Sunday night, it's the Chargers at New England with that Monday night game, Houston at Pittsburgh in the NFL playoffs. The FCS National Championship is tonight, 6:30 kickoff in Nashville. It's Illinois State and Montana State in that matchup. In college basketball, Southern Illinois beat Belmont in Valley play on the road, 68-67. The Salukis, after starting the conference play 0-3, have won back-to-back games. The St. Louis Cardinals will be on the hunt for more trades this week. President of Baseball Operations, Chaim Bloom, I asked him what he's looking for. It's for players, and you're getting calls, I'm certain, about many of your players. Do you feel good right now about your starting depth? Is that something that you will continue to pursue when it comes to pitching, with your eye, of course, as you've mentioned, on some position player help? You'd mentioned on this show you'd love to see some versatility. Doesn't have to be a right-handed bat, but that would be ideal.
Yeah, I do feel at this point, with the younger pitchers that we've been able to acquire in the trades that we've made, and with bringing Dustin in here, that if we were to go into the season with the starting depth that we have now, we'd feel good about it, feel good that we have good options to compete for these spots. We will have a little competition in the group, a nice mix of a floor of guys that we know can get the job done and have done it, and also guys with upside to grow into it and to continue to do more. That said, you never stop looking. We haven't. We want to make sure it makes sense, whether it's a veteran fit or whether it's additional young pitching. We don't want to do it just to do it, but we've continued to look out for it. And certainly if the right fit is there, we're going to continue to add to that rotation depth because you can always use more.
Hein Bloom on Sports on a Sunday morning on KMOX. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Sea fans, mark your calendars now. The Boys in Red return to Energizer Park to kick off Season 4 Saturday, February 21st. And you could be there for the dawn of a new golden era of St. Louis soccer. Go to stlcitysc.com/tickets and reserve your seat now for the MLS home opener versus Charlotte FC. Limited quantities remain. See you soon, St. Louis.
Nominations for the 2026 Women of Achievement are now open. The St. Louis Area Award is the oldest ongoing program in the area whose sole mission is to honor and recognize the volunteer service and volunteer leadership of women. If you know an outstanding volunteer in the St. Louis metropolitan area, or if you are one, Women of Achievement wants to hear from you. Nominations, including self-nominations, may be submitted now through January 11th. Head to KMOX.com for more information.
Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 6:50. Let's do traffic and weather. We'll start here with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got a big jam on northbound 270, Debbie. It's, let's call it approaching Tesson Ferry. It's bumper to bumper pretty much all the way up through Doherty Ferry. I think they still have the right lane blocked. I mean, I can see the flashing lights. My vantage point is hard to tell if they're in the right lane or on the shoulder, but just north of Doherty Ferry, still flashing lights there. We've had 2 incidents at Doherty Ferry, one near 44. So it's plenty busy, obviously. As I said, jammed approaching Tesson Ferry all the way up to that point. Northbound 55 is jammed from the Union Road overpass up through Weber, but then it's slow all the way to Virginia after that. We've got some slow traffic on southbound 61 just crossing over onto eastbound 64 out in the Wentzville area. Eastbound 70, we have an incident before the Rock Road. We're backed up at 270 on eastbound 70. Downtown, still a great westbound for Illinois drivers headed across the bridges. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company at St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
Plenty of sunshine, warm afternoon, high 59 today. Clouds low 48 tonight. Tomorrow, clouds give way to more sunshine with a high of 57. Sunny and pleasant Wednesday with a high of 61. Currently, it's clear, 34 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 6:52. The U.S. Figure Skating Championships officially kick off in St. Louis today and tomorrow when hundreds of junior and novice competitors gather at Centene Community Ice Center. Championship-level skaters vying for national titles and spots on the Olympic national team will be at Enterprise Center starting Wednesday. The big night when Team USA is announced is Sunday, January 11th.
Tickets are available for all competitions, but there are a number of free events as well, including appearances by former Olympians Dorothy Hamill, Scott Hamilton, and Tenley Albright. They'll be at a fan fest this weekend in Keener Plaza. That includes open skate sessions led by Learn to Skate USA. St. Louis Public Library is hosting a number of events at Central Library that blend education and historic beginnings of skating. A complete list of free events at Winterfest can be found at archpark.org.
This year marks 100 years of Route 66, and a few events commemorating that anniversary are already underway. Our sister station reports from the end of Route 66.
Over the weekend, 9 classic cars left Santa Monica on a 2,448-mile trip to Navy Pier in Chicago at what is being called the drive home along the interstate system and the classic parts of Route 66 in 8 states between California and Illinois. Jim Harris, the executive director of the Santa Monica Pier Corporation, says there's something about age that makes a place special.
But, the visitorship and just the feeling around that, and then kind of celebrating the heritage, and it all comes with that third digit, doesn't it?
Expect to see events in April and in June, and stop on by the pier for a little nostalgia. It's good for the soul. In Santa Monica, I'm Pete Demetrio, KNX News 97.1 FM.
If you want to know more about events to celebrate Route 66, which I am going to do, go to Missouri66.org.
A deal to buy dozens and dozens of JCPenney department stores, including the one at Mid-Rivers Mall in St. Peter's, has apparently fallen through. Copper Property terminated a deal to sell 119 properties to Onyx Partners of Boston for an almost $950 million all-cash deal. The reason cited was Onyx failing to complete the transaction as required by December 26th. According to the Business Journal, Onyx disputes that and is blaming Copper.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
The birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. If you have a birthday or anniversary you'd like us to include, make sure to put the date you want it announced and send it to totalam@kmox.com. Happy birthday wishes going out to Marianne Dersh. Happy 29th, Michael Adams from Grandma and Grandpa Adams. Ann Smith, Dolores Costco, and Marita Wassman all celebrating. So is Inessa Spring from your St. Louis family. And happy birthday to Dave Drebus.
This is the best birthday ever.
McKelvey Homes excited to introduce their newest community. It was just born, the Reserve at Wildwood, a premier development located on 50 acres. It's at the southwest corner of State Route 109 and 100 in the heart of Wildwood, a community offering stunning collections of homes and designed with the high-quality craftsmanship and style that McKelvey is known for. Thoughtfully planned, families and outdoor lovers will love it. The community features a private playground, picturesque rain gardens, miles of walking trails that wind through scenic green spaces, encouraging an active and connected lifestyle. It's called the Reserve at Wildwood, and it's up right now at McKelveyHomes.com. Learn more about McKelvey, founded in 1898, McKelveyHomes.com. Move up to McKelvey.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, registered investment advisors. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Schedule your free inspection today. Call 877-WINDOWS. That's 877-WINDOWS. Or head to rbastl.com.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120. Visit Lance, DRURY law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
It's 6:58. Let's check in with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, there's still a ton of traffic on North 270, and I still see the flashing lights out on I guess it's the right shoulder, just north of Doherty Ferry, right where the ramp merges on for Doherty Ferry drivers to North 270. So we had two separate incidents there. We had one at 44 as well. It looks like they're all out of the way, but we're still bumper to bumper. North 270 still backed up, approaching Tesson Ferry all the way up through that Doherty Ferry area. It's more stop than it is go on North 270 right now. Some folks are just taking 55 north into the city. There's a slowdown up the hill from Green Park to Rivas, and then it's backed up from the Union Road overpass to Weber, but it remains busy all the way up to Virginia. By the way, alternate routes like 141, you're backed up from 13th Street to Gravois Bluffs. There's a backup approaching Bowles and another one from about Centurion up through 44 if you're thinking about going that way to avoid the North 270 jam. Other than that, we still have some slow traffic. It was jammed 10 minutes ago, so State cleared whatever the problem was. Eastbound 70 just busy. Earth City into the Rock Road. Downtown, we're still clear westbound across the Poplar and Musial Veterans Bridges for Illinois drivers. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Monday, January 5th. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. A nice day today with sunshine and a milder afternoon, high 59.
I'm Tom Ackerman. In the news,
I'm Sean Malone. The mayor and the board of aldermen are pointing fingers at who's to blame for the fallout when trying to figure out who can name an interim sheriff. I've got that story coming up. Dangerous dictators, dangerous precedents. I'm Scott Jagow with thoughts from KMOX political analyst John Hancock on Venezuela.
A pair of restaurants on Del Mar are permanently closing their doors. They say slow tornado recovery is to blame. Coming up in sports, we have a lot to touch on, including the NFL playoffs, the Cardinals' pursuit and trade of Nolan Arenado forthcoming, according to Chaim Bloom.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
On the hour, sponsored by Pfizer.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro is on his way to a New York City courthouse 2 days after he and his wife were captured at their compound in Caracas. The couple is facing drug, weapons, and narco-terrorism charges. CBS News legal analyst Caroline Polisi.
It starts the clock ticking for the government to turn over any information that the government currently has to prove the guilt of the defendant.
The Maduros are being housed at the notorious Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. And we've learned the mission to arrest them took months of planning across multiple agencies. Correspondent Charlie D'Agata.
A source familiar with the operation told CBS News a small team of CIA personnel had been on the ground in Venezuela since August, tracking Maduro's movements.
Where he lived, where he traveled, what he ate.
General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said the incursion involved more than 150 aircraft launched from 20 different military bases.
Anger is washing over a nearby island nation after Maduro's ouster.
I'm Vicki Barker at the Foreign Desk. Angry rallies and flags at half-staff in Cuba, observing 2 days of national mourning. The government confirms 32 Cubans died defending Venezuelan government positions. This, as Secretary of State Marco Rubio declares Cuba's communist government, quote, in a lot of trouble. Not yet clear what that might mean for Cuba.
Sources tell CBS News White House officials will brief some members of Congress on the Maduro operation today. Democrats like Connecticut's Tim Hines are upset they weren't notified in advance.
It's clearly illegal under international law, right? No, full stop, UN charter, no question there.
Hines on CBS's Face the Nation. The president told reporters on Air Force One about his plans for Venezuela.
Right now, what we want to do is fix up the oil, fix up the country, bring the country back, and then have elections.
The president claims Venezuela's oil industry will make a lot more money with the U.S. behind it. What'll it mean here in the U.S.? CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
The short term, probably no difference in our pocketbooks. Longer term, maybe there will be more gas on the market, but there are so many factors at play.
At last night's Critics' Choice Awards,
the top awards, Best Director and Picture, going to Paul Thomas Anderson for one battle after another.
Hey, thank you, Sensei. Thank you, Sensei. Thank you.
CBS's Matt Wolf reporting Timothée Chalamet took Best Actor for Marty Supreme. Jessie Buckley, Best Actress for Hamnet. Dow futures are down 19. This is
CBS News Radio is your home for breaking news. With our team of reporters around the country and the world, we give you the coverage you can trust.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
This new year, get started on your next success with University of Maryland Global Campus. Apply by February 11th and get your application fee waived. An accredited state university, UMGC offers online and hybrid classes, along with more than 135 degrees and certificates in fields like business, cybersecurity, healthcare, and more. Gain the skills you need to achieve your career goals. Get your application fee waived through February 11th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
It is 7:04 and the sun's coming up. We've got clear skies and 34 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. This morning we go in depth on the big story out of the city sheriff's office. 3 different entities claiming a different group or person gets to name the interim sheriff. State statute says the power belongs to the county board of commissioners. However, with St. Louis City not being a part of a county, KMOX legal analyst Brad Young shares who he believes that responsibility falls to.
Courts will hold that the Board of Aldermen is the equivalent to a Board of Commissioners under Missouri law and will empower the Board of Aldermen in St. Louis to appoint the interim sheriff.
But Young does say Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway does have a case when she argues that power belongs to Governor Mike Kehoe. Young says the appointment authority falls to the governor unless otherwise noted by law.
Who is at fault for the breakdown between the Board of Aldermen and the mayor regarding how to replace Alfred Montgomery in the interim?
Mayor Kara Spencer is accusing Aldermanic President Megan Green of not being fully transparent with the aldermen about their talks.
We were working in good faith with the president of the board in her office, and it's become clear to us that a lot of those conversations, that working product, the agreement to join with our lawsuit in a collaborative fashion, that was not communicated to the Board of Aldermen on a whole.
KMOX has spoken with over 2/3 of the aldermen, while some blamed the mayor and others agreed with her. The majority say neither side is blameless, with some saying all parties involved could have communicated and gathered information better, including the aldermen themselves. We've also received a timeline of communications and emails between the board, mayor, and city councilor's office. Conversations were had about who gets to name an interim as far back as October 9th, when the opinion from the city councilor was the board would. However, many of the board's communications with Mayor Spencer and the city councilor's office began to go unresponded to numerous times, starting later that same month, as the councilor's opinion shifted to the mayor making the choice. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Who is at fault for the breakdown between the Board of Aldermen and the mayor? That's the story from Sean Malone. The Democrats aren't the only party seeking candidates to run for sheriff. The St. Louis City Republican Central Committee is also pushing to have their nominee to replace Montgomery picked at their next meeting. Chair Kirk Hilsinger tells KMOX they are open-minded to candidates who are not registered as Republicans running on their ticket.
Hayden is doing a far better job than Alfred Montgomery has been doing. So being an actual Republican in the environment that we have in St. Louis City is not necessarily a requirement.
He adds they are actively recruiting a particular candidate who is not a Republican but would not name names. Their next meeting is January 8th.
Could Missourians see bigger tax refunds this year? Stacey Engel with the IRS told MissouriNet projections point to higher refunds. Engel says it's because of increased standard deductions under the Trump budget bill passed in July. 2 things could impact you. 1, the standard mileage rate is increasing for cars, vans, and panel trucks, including electric and hybrid vehicles. The second, workers who earned overtime above time and a half can deduct the extra half rate. Experts say this could be the biggest tax refund season in history.
This is sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. If the holidays have you down because they're over, well, the next holiday season officially kicks off tomorrow. It's the 12th night. St. Louis Mardi Gras ceremonial start kicking off Tuesday night at the South Broadway Athletic Club when civic leaders, parade crews, and Soulard neighbors petition the board to host Mardi Gras season.
Following their decision, which is always presumed to be yes, a new Rex, King of Mardi Gras, will be crowned. After that, there's a winter carnival January 17th, occasion cook-off on the 31st. The bulk of the Mardi Gras activities are in February. The Purina Pet Parade and Wiener Dog Race is February 8th. The Grand Parade is February 14th.
We'll check traffic and weather next at 7:08.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
I dared Archwell Health to keep track of my vitals and my grandkids' names.
I dared Archwell Health to simplify my prescriptions, so Max and I have more time to play. Good boy.
And I dared Archwell Health to be closer than my neighborhood coffee shop.
Our members dared us to do more as a primary care provider for adults age 60 and up. So we made it our mission. Visit archwellhealth.com and become a member today. Archwell Health, we dare to care.
Experience a celebration of movement and music as the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra and St. Louis Dance Theater join together for Stravinsky and Debussy Music and Motion. This adventurous collaboration reimagines Stravinsky's Pulcinella Suite in an entirely new way that celebrates powerful partnerships between dance and music. January 10th and 11th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 7:10. Time to take a look at the roadways and the weather. The weather is going to be unusually warm this week. Details on the way, but first, Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's been kind of rough for South County commuters or folks coming out of South County this morning, Debbie, especially on 270 with multiple incidents. They're still out there. They're still in the right lane. I can see it a little bit better now that it's daylight. It looks like the right lane is still at least partially blocked there just past Doherty Ferry right before the merge on traffic coming on from Doherty Ferry to North 270. We're backed up from about the Sappington Road overpass, bumper to bumper, all the way up to that point on northbound 270. Northbound 55, there's a slowdown up the hill from Green Park to Rivas, and then from Union up to the River to Pear. A lot of that is stop and go as well. 141 is an alternate route to 270 from north of 13th Street up to Gravois Bluffs, your bumper to bumper. There's a shorter backup approaching Bowles, and then just north of Hawkins all the way up to at least Marshall Road and Valley Park is stop and go. So those are your options in the area to avoid northbound 270 right now. Other than that, the rest of these area highways are light and on the go for you on both sides of the river. Next update is 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We can tell it's a nice sunrise because we have an orangish, pinkish glow on the buildings to our west here in downtown St. Louis. Looks like a very nice morning and a really nice day upcoming. AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
A nice day today with plenty of sunshine and a noticeably warmer afternoon, high 59. Clouds on the increase tonight, though 48. Clouds give way to some sun tomorrow, the high 57. With the day mostly sunny, high 61. Expect some rain on Thursday. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now we have a clear sky, 34 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It is 7:12. How to assess President Trump's actions in Venezuela.
KMOX Republican analyst John Hancock praises what he calls a flawless military strike, and he says Nicolas Maduro was a bad actor and a dangerous dictator in our hemisphere. But he also recognizes the precedent being set by not engaging Congress beforehand.
if you applaud this action, if you applaud what Donald Trump has done, you have to also admit that you're creating precedents for future presidential administrations to just erase these boundaries and to have Congress become increasingly irrelevant.
Hancock also says the idea of the U.S. taking over Venezuela is tenuous at best. He says the U.S. doesn't exactly have the best track record when it comes to regime change in other countries. Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
Congressman Wesley Bell is calling Trump's actions reckless and without regard for the law. Bell, a member of the House Armed Services Committee, says military action in Venezuela requires congressional authorization. He also praises America's service members, saying they're the best fighting force and never doubts their ability to carry out the mission. He adds this action does not live up to America's ideals and gives cover to Russia as it wages war on Ukraine and China as it threatens Taiwan.
The Illinois primary is March 19th, and you're bound to see and hear a lot of election-related polls before then. Political editor Jeff Buckles reports on what one statistics expert looks for.
How was the survey conducted?
Dr. Ed Cohen spent decades crunching ratings for radio stations across the country. Now, as a college professor, he teaches students how to understand statistics and percentages. He says the most important thing to look for in stories about polls on candidates or issues is who pollsters talk to and wording of specific questions.
Questions can be leading in either direction. It doesn't make any difference.
He says that's more important to know whether a survey is good than the margin of error number you might see or hear.
A bad survey is a bad survey, whether the margin of error is plus or minus 3 or plus or minus 25.
And even the best surveys are snapshots in time designed to help people understand what voters are thinking ahead of the only real survey that matters at the polls.
Car makers and their suppliers will be showing off a lot of new technology as the big Consumer Electronics Show opens in Las Vegas.
From high-tech robots to better rear-view mirrors to new safety items, the technology at this show impacts the way vehicles are driven and built. Very important, says telemetry analyst Sam Abul-Samad.
Technology has always been a key part of the automobile, and it has become increasingly important.
Expect several announcements involving self-driving cars and even self-driving semi-trucks. Jeff Gilbert, CBS News, Las Vegas.
The Consumer Electronics Show officially opens its show floor Tuesday and will close on Friday. A lot of sports between now and then. Busy Wednesday. The Billikens will be playing at VCU on KMOX, and the Blues will be at Chicago. Just part of a busy week, including lots of football. Friday, the CFP, the College Football Playoff semifinal. The Fiesta Bowl will be Miami and Ole Miss. And then on Friday night, the Peach Bowl in Atlanta, Indiana, and Oregon. The NFL playoffs are set Saturday afternoon, 3:30 kickoff, Rams at Carolina, followed by Green Bay at Chicago. Sunday, noon kickoff, Buffalo at Jacksonville, 3:30 San Francisco at Philadelphia, 7 o'clock Sunday night, Chargers at New England. The Monday night game is Houston at Pittsburgh. The Steelers made the playoffs and won the AFC North when Tyler Loop, the Ravens kicker, missed a 44-yarder as time expired last night in Pittsburgh. The Steelers escape 26-24. The FCS National Championship is tonight, 6:30 kickoff in Nashville for Illinois State. The Redbirds out of the Missouri Valley Conference will be taking on Montana State. Speaking of the Valley, basketball, the Salukis won over Belmont yesterday, 68-67. SIU has won back-to-back games. Nolan Arenado, a topic on Sports on a Sunday Morning.
Where success meets success. Swing and a fly ball to a deep left center field. That's back at the wall, and it's gone. A big fly for Nolan Arenado.
Arenado has had discussions with Chaim Bloom, and the Cardinals have had discussions with other teams. Here he is, Bloom, discussing it on the record on his exclusive Sports on a Sunday Morning appearance.
Yeah, obviously this is an interesting situation. I mean, first of all, I believe that Nolan's going to the Hall of Fame. There are not that many people you really single-digit number of third basemen who have accomplished what he has on both sides of the ball. I think his resume speaks for itself, and he will deserve that honor whenever it comes to him, as I believe it will. We all agree we're at a point both where we are and where he is, where it just makes sense to find a different fit. And so we've been working on that. Obviously, he's still with us, so that hasn't happened yet. But, I've been asked about this a couple times this offseason, actually, including by Greg when I was on MLB Network at the winter meetings. And I don't feel any differently than I did at the beginning, that we do think it would be ideal for everybody to find that different fit, but it obviously has to be something that makes sense for everybody. And we have not found that yet, but I don't feel any differently than I did early in the offseason on, both that it makes sense and also that we will find it at some point.
I'm Bloom on Sports on a Sunday morning on KMOX. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Okay, we've got the chips, the fancy cheese, the sparkling cider. Oh, and I need to fill up the tank on the way home.
Look at the cart. We haven't even hit midnight yet, and you're already blowing your save money resolution for next year.
I'm not blowing it. I'm being smart. I'm using Upside.
Upside? That cash back app?
Exactly. I just claimed an offer, and just like that, I'm getting cash back on all these groceries. And I'll do the same at the gas station. It's how I earned an extra $250 this year.
Wait, $250?
Yep, that's extra cash I can cash out to my bank or throw onto gift cards to my favorite spots.
Download the free Upside app and start earning cash back now. Use promo code POP10 for a $10 bonus on your first grocery purchase. That's promo code POP10. Make your resolution easy this year. Download the free Upside app today and use promo code POP10 for an extra $10 bonus on your first purchase.
Offers vary by user and location at participating merchants. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
It is 7:20. It's shaping up to be a really nice day today. Let's get the latest on the roadways first before we tell you about the weather. Roger Brands in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, coming up from the south side, still the biggest issue out there right now, Debbie. Northbound 270, they're still in that right lane just north of the Doherty Ferry overpass. North 270 bogs down at Tesson Ferry. Stop-and-go pockets through Gravois, but then it's pretty solid all the way to Doherty Ferry. After that is an alternate route, 141 northbound. You still got heavy traffic north of 13th Street, maybe headed up the hill there toward Gravois Bluffs is pretty heavy, and it's a solid jam now from Hawkins Road all the way up to Marshall Road in Valley Park, if you're thinking about that route. And if you're coming up northbound 55, I think it's a little heavier as well because of it. You've still got to slow down up the hill from Green Park to Rivas, and it's jammed from the Union Road overpass up to about Weber, still slow to River to Pear after that. They just cleared a minor crash westbound 64 at McKnight. There's a little congestion there. They were in the right lane, and I don't see any delays right now. We have a report of a crash westbound 64 at 159 in Fairview Heights as well. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather-wise, we're looking at a really great week. Today's a good one. Sunshine, warm, high 59. Tonight, increasing clouds, low 48. Tomorrow, sunshine, high 57. Wednesday, sunny and pleasant, high 61. Thursday, we'll get maybe a little bit of rain here and there, but a high of 64. Friday, chance of a shower, and a high of 62. Mild weather all week. Right now, we're getting there. It's still 34 degrees with a clear sky downtown at the Arch.
It is 7:22, and one of the most common New Year's resolutions is to get more exercise, and that can be increasingly difficult as you get older. Nutrition and fitness expert Patricia Greenberg is the author of the book, It's Okay to Be Old. She says a lot of advice out there is over the top.
What you're being told is, ride your bike 2 hours a day, lift the heaviest weight you could possibly find in the gym,
and go to bed every night at 8 o'clock. These are things, yes, it's perfect living, but that we don't live in a perfect world. And many of us physically cannot recreate the regimen that some of these doctors are espousing. And they're also starting a little bit younger. So one of the catch-22s that we find in the aging space is that we're being told to take on these very, very rigorous fitness regimens in order to age well, but we're not being guided at 65 or 70 that that's a healthy thing to do. And it's not safe for a lot of people in that age group. So we got to kick it down a few notches and realize you're still going to be very healthy. Some of these programs now are geared towards putting people through very rigorous programs in order to see how old you can last doing this. A lot of these are experimental. They're not really, nothing's tried and true because it's all new territory. We haven't been there before. So if you want to go to the gym and do some resistance training and you haven't been there in years, 5-pound weights will do the trick. Working your way up till 10 to do a trick. You don't have to do chest presses with 40, 50 pounds, never mind 150. These will all work. It's resistance training. Doesn't matter if it's 5 pounds or 50, you're still doing the work.
And she says one of the best forms of exercise is a brisk walk. Greenberg adds that getting old can actually be enjoyable.
I just turned 65 and it is the best time of my life. My husband's in his 70s and it is the best time in our life because do you know that wisdom is actually something that you acquire? It's physiological as you get older. The way your memory rearranges what you know and what you absorb equates wisdom. As we get older, we go, you know what? I'm just not going to care what anybody thinks anymore. You know what? I've been down that block so many times before. Now I know not to do that anymore. Those are actual physiological adaptations that your brain has made to living life. Isn't that extraordinary? I learned that recently. So as you age, it's one of those things, it's okay to be a good 10 or 15 pounds above your ideal body weight because it's a protective measure against illness, disease, and falling. So a lot of people don't know that men and women cannot stand that little bit of extra, plump around the middle as they get older, but it's actually there to help you. Gaining weight is a natural part of aging.
President Trump says he is in perfect health. CBS's Natalie Brand with that story.
He had initially told CBS and reporters that he received an MRI, but he's now clarifying in an interview with the Wall Street Journal that it was a CT scan. The president's doctor said he was initially told he would receive either one of those tests, both advanced imaging, but they decided to do a CT to rule out any cardiovascular issues.
Illinois' political donors are active with about 10 weeks to go until the March primary. We get more from Haley Hansen.
While many have not yet ranked donors for the 2026 election cycle, the Daily Herald accessed data and determined where Illinois' biggest political benefactors are sending cash ahead of the midterms. Governor J.B. and wife M.K. Pritzker have made dozens of political contributions so far this cycle, including $1 million to the Democrats' House Majority Political Action Committee. The U-Lines, founders of the U-Line Shipping and Business Supply Company, have also spent millions, with other contributions coming in from Shirley Ryan, the Duchessois family, and more.
Two businesses near where last May's tornado ripped through St. Louis are closing their doors, with their owner telling KMOX they cannot hold out during the lethargic recovery any longer. Steve's Hot Dogs and the Fountain on Del Mar will shut down permanently, with owner Danny Eichenhorst sounding the alarm.
There needs to be some attention and some aid given to these neighborhoods and to these businesses to ensure that these places remain open before it's too late.
She does acknowledge that local, state, and federal officials have their hands full with the recovery, but says too many of their local regulars are not receiving funding or insurance payouts quick enough. She adds those who have gotten funding are having a hard time finding contractors to make the needed repairs to their homes. Megan Lynch goes in depth with Eichenhorst in about an hour.
On the musical side of things, Steve's Hot Dogs founder Steve Ewing has a new project for 2026, a weekly residency at Broadway Oyster Bar. Starting this week, Ewing will perform every Wednesday in a series called Steve Ewing and Friends, in which he'll share the stage with a variety of musicians in collaborative performance. Ewing, of course, is the frontman for The Urge and a presence on the local scene with his solo efforts as well.
You want to talk about a great local establishment, Broadway Oyster Bar. Support
I've not
that
been
place.
there in a while, but I may go to see Steve Ewing, my neighbor.
If anyone comes into town, you ask them, where do I go get a drink? What bar do I go to? Just send them there. That's a guarantee. It's 7:27. Time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Al Arbor, Barrett Jackman, and Alexander Steen celebrate the newest inductees into the St. Louis Blues Hall of Fame, presented by First Community during a pregame ceremony on January 13th when the Blues take on the Hurricanes. Be sure to get here early to honor the legends and be one of the first 10,000 fans through the gate to receive a Blues Hall of Fame Class of 2026 banner courtesy of First Community. Get your tickets today at stlouisblues.com.
St. Louis City SC is teaming up again with Enterprise to salute the people who make our city shine bright. The Exceptional Neighbor program presented by Enterprise is back, and now you can help us find the class of 2026. Nominate your friend, coworker, or anyone who's going above and beyond for the STL region, and they could be featured on the pitch during halftime. Go to stlcitysc.com/exceptional neighbor now through January 9th and tell us who you think deserves to be an exceptional neighbor. Presented by Enterprise.
Because we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see lots of lawyers' ads. Most seem to be bragging on results, but are they true or misleading? For example, in some cases, a firm may try a case even though the at-fault party has no lawyer, then brag in the ad about their results. My son Matt got one for nearly $50 million, but we never collected one dime. Some lawyers may say they got a result even though they were sitting second chair at a firm like mine, and even though they had little to do with it. Happens all the time. All that glitters is not gold. At Morgan & Morgan, our results are real. Visit forthepeople.com and go to settlements and verdicts to see for yourself what your case may be worth before you hire a law firm. Do your homework. Fact check. It's easy and too important not to. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
It is 7:30, and right now in downtown St. Louis, it looks like a beautiful start to the day. Clear skies, 34 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brand is in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, North 270 is still pretty busy, folks. If you're headed up that way out of South County, you still got some slow traffic. Tesson Ferry to Gravois, then it's bumper to bumper most of the way from Gravois up to Doherty Ferry. It looks like, I think everything's over to the shoulder now. I still see flashing lights. They were in the right lane, but the right lane looks like is getting through now. But again, still quite a bit of a backup on northbound 270. Northbound 141 is an alternate north of 13th Street up to Gravois Bluffs is still busy. And from about approaching Bowles now, all the way up through Marshall Road and Valley Park is stop and go. So sort of maybe a tie as to what's quicker between that and 270 because they're both pretty tough. Northbound 55 still is a slowdown approaching Rivas. Union Road up through Weber, that's solid bumper to bumper. Westbound 64, there's some slow traffic from McCausland out to Hanley. The eastbound 64 run, though, looks great all the way in from Wentzville to the 170 area. So does eastbound 70. And we still have a little, well, we're starting to get a little bit of a jam now. Westbound 64 at 159, we have a crash reported in the area there. Next update is 7:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be a really nice week ahead, so you can put the parka away for a while. 59 degrees today with plenty of sunshine. Some clouds overnight, but that should give way tomorrow to more sunshine and a high of 57. 61 on Wednesday, 64 degrees on Thursday. Right now, it's 34 downtown.
It's 7:32. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro will make his first court appearance today on multiple charges, including drug trafficking. The mission to arrest Maduro took just hours, but officials tell CBS News it took months of planning across multiple agencies. CBS News senior national security correspondent Charlie D'Agata.
A small team of CIA personnel had been on the ground in Venezuela since August, tracking Maduro's movements.
Where he lived, where he traveled, what he ate,
what he wore.
General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said the incursion involved more than 150 aircraft launched from 20 different military bases. Kane said soldiers arrived at Maduro's compound just after 1 a.m. Eastern time. By around 3 a.m. Eastern, he said the Venezuelan leader and his wife had been captured and were en route to the USS Iwo Jima. Some civilian homes were damaged during the operation, which reportedly killed dozens of people, including 32 Cubans serving government missions.
I mean, I watched it literally like I was watching a television show.
In a Fox News interview on Saturday, President Trump said he watched it all unfold from his Mar-a-Lago estate, adding that commandos had practiced on a replica of Maduro's compound.
Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia, her resignation from Congress takes effect today.
Trump has gone after her pretty aggressively, calling her a traitor, a lunatic, a dumb person, and ultimately pulling his political support. In her 60 Minutes interview last month, Greene said things really changed after Trump labeled her a traitor over the Epstein issue, something she framed as standing up for victims. She said that was followed by a pipe bomb threat at her home and direct death threats against her son, which she blamed on Trump's rhetoric. Greene said those threats were also a major factor in her decision to leave Congress early. Patrick McGuire, CBS News, Washington.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We'll check your Money Minute next.
For 100 years, KMOX has been the voice of St. Louis, informing, entertaining, and connecting our community. Now, relive a century of service at KMOX100.com, a website that allows you to explore classic KMOX audio, rare photos and video, and the legendary voices that shaped St. Louis. Every headline, every heartbreak, every heartbeat lives on at KMOX100.com.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your Nature-Made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature-Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
It is 7:36 and time for your money report from Bloomberg, sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. It's been an eye-popping run for stocks these past 3 years, with the S&P 500 soaring 78%, and we may see another year of gains. According to a survey by Bloomberg, Wall Street strategists see the S&P rising 9.2% this year. Even though stocks are expected to be higher, that would trail the rally we saw each of the past 3 years. Bulls believe the economy will pick up steam in the first half with tax cuts and regulatory easing. More traders are returning to their desks after the holidays, and stocks are looking at a higher open. Tech shares are giving a lift to the markets. On the agenda this week, the December jobs report will be released on Friday. And Hyundai has warned of a tough year ahead for the global auto industry. The company's executive chair is warning that global trade tensions and intensifying competition may hurt profitability for these companies. Hyundai plans to invest in artificial intelligence, robotics, and new technologies. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the Let's Revitalize Our Neighborhoods commitment. This is the Roll Up Our Sleeves and Pitch In commitment. This is Busey, where our commitment to strengthen our communities is a top priority. Through energetic, engaged volunteers, through monetary support, community leadership, and advocacy. Because Busey is more than a bank that does well, we're a bank that does good. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth, since 1868. Member FDIC.
This is Corey from Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. There's never a good time for your heating system to stop working. If yours does, no matter what time or day, Air Comfort Service offers 24/7 emergency HVAC service. Contact our award-winning team for 5-star heating service and stay in your comfort zone. For heating and 24/7 emergency service, contact Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation at aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
Well, it's 2026. Wishing everybody a better year than last year. Wishing everybody succeed on their resolutions. Really hope somebody succeeds on their resolution. Ignore that. I don't want to be a Bertie Downer. I thought I'd save all the Debbies out there. But anyway, it's still cold. You still need heat. If your system breaks, remember, look me up. You saved me on your phone. If you haven't saved me on the phone, save it under Bart. If you forget my name and number, here it is. Bart Inman. The number, it's one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. The only number at Missouri and Illinois is 314-293-2600. That's 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless. And Happy New Year.
Fairwinds River's Edge is more than a place to live. It's a place to belong. Come see why we have been voted Best Independent Senior Living Community for 4 years in a row by U.S. News and World Report. We think you'll like it here, and the experts agree. Come see us for yourself. Call to schedule a tour and complimentary lunch, or to learn more about our upcoming app university that can help enhance your everyday life. Find us online at fairwindsriversedge.com.
It's 2026 and it's time to get your home zero resified by calling our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $119 plus a free hallway, and take 15% off regularly priced services when you mention the KMWEX special. ZeroResSTL.com. Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
It's men's Billikens basketball action Wednesday night as they face VCU. Pregame 5:45, tip at 6 on your home for Billikens basketball. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 7:40 and time to check the traffic and weather. Roger Brands in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got a ton of traffic on North 270, though, although, Debbie, I don't see any flashing lights on the shoulder at Doherty Ferry any longer. We're still slow on North 270 at Tesson Ferry. Then it's stop and go, approaching Gravois all the way up to about Big Bend, and then from there it's slow to Manchester as an alternate route northbound 141. A little busy at Gravois Bluffs, but approaching Bowles all the way up to 44 looks pretty solid if you're thinking about going that way. By the way, southbound 270, south of Olive down to Ladue, that's a little heavy. Eastbound 64 is slow down east of Clarkson. Westbound 64 is certainly busier from the Science Center out to Big Bend, and then from Lindbergh out to about Spady. Eastbound Highway 70 looks good coming in from St. Charles County for drivers. Northbound 55, a backup from Union Road, pretty much up to River de Pere, then slow Loughborough up to Holly Hills. We've got this crash westbound 64, west of 159. Traffic's jammed west of 50 into that area. Next update is 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
But my lips are turning blue. Are they fast?
My darling, Jerry Kelly can install a new furnace tomorrow, no matter what day tomorrow is, even if we call late at night.
You are my hero.
They're fast and they're good and they got it going on. JerryKelly.com.
Hey, let's get a check of the traffic of the weather at 7:42. We're looking out the windows of Studio B, and it looks like a lovely day. That Missouri flag flapping in the breeze. What do we have in store, Joe Lundberg?
A bright day today, Debbie, with lots of sunshine, and it's already starting out in the mid to upper 30s across the area. We're going to jump to 59 this afternoon. Huge change from where we've been over the weekend. Then clouds will increase tonight, our low 48. Tomorrow, another balmy day as clouds give way to some sunshine. We reach a high 57. And mild and pleasant on Wednesday with sunshine for the most part, then a high of 61. Now, next storm will take a track toward north and west on Thursday. With it, It'll be cloudy, balmy with rain at times. The breeze will pick up in the afternoon, get to about 64. Behind that storm, there may be some breaks of sun on Friday, but there may be a second wave of low pressure that tries to come through and squeeze a couple of showers out of the clouds on Friday with a high of 62. It will trend chillier to go into the weekend. Right now, 37 in St. Peter's, 36 in Florissant, and clear at 38 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Thank you, Joe, especially for that fantastic forecast at 7:43. Sports in 2 minutes. Some students in the region still have off school today, but students at Jennings High School won't be returning to the classroom until January 12th. Repairs are ongoing at the school after a pipe broke during winter break. Water was flowing out of the doors of the school when the district staff and the Jennings Fire Department arrived on the scene. Students will do virtual classes through the rest of the week.
St. Louis County Police releasing body cam footage from an officer-involved shooting at Lambert Airport that happened early in the morning of November 21st. Police encountered a man wielding a knife inside Terminal 1. They warned him, but he moved toward one officer instead.
Hey, drop. Listen here. Drop the knife. Drop.
Police say 4 shots were fired. Officers gave first aid to the suspect, but he died at the scene, identified as 31-year-old Darius Kennedy, a homeless man. County Police spokesperson Vera Clay says the reason for releasing the video is to give the public a clear picture of what happened.
This briefing is not meant to draw any conclusions about whether the officers acted within their department's policy or the law, but to inform you, the public, of the information we know up to this point.
She says the department is conducting a thorough investigation. You can find the video posted at KMOX.com.
A head-on collision in North St. Louis County resulted in the death of 2 women and 4 others injured. That crash occurred around 11 p.m. Saturday night on 367 just south of Chambers. According to witnesses, a Chrysler 300 pulled into the southbound lanes, colliding with a Mazda. The woman driving the Mazda died. A woman in the Chrysler was also killed. 4 others sustained serious injuries.
Another pedestrian struck and killed, this time near St. Louis Place Park in North City. Police say a man was killed Saturday night near North Florissant and Hebert. The man's identity hasn't been released, but police say he was wearing dark clothing and was hit by an SUV. The driver remained on the scene.
Let's go back to baseball and Chaim Bloom, the Cardinals president of baseball operations. Is he finished shopping for pitching? Not necessarily. Let's take a listen.
Yeah, I do feel at this point with the younger pitchers that we've been able to acquire in the trades that we've made and with bringing Dustin in here, that if we were to go into the season with the starting depth that we have now, we'd feel good about it, feel good that we have good options to compete for these spots. We will have a little competition in the group, you know, a nice mix of a floor of guys that we know can get the job done and have done it, and also guys with upside to grow into it and to continue to do more. That said, you never stop looking. We haven't. We want to make sure it makes sense, whether it's a veteran fit or whether it's additional young pitching. We don't want to do it just to do it, but we've continued to look out for it. And certainly if the right fit is there, we're going to continue to add to that rotation depth because you can always use more.
He also acknowledges that they continue to shop Nolan Arenado. They have not found a new team for the Cardinals' third baseman. Meanwhile, what a scene this was in Pittsburgh yesterday. Let's listen to the entire call to give it some context. Westwood won, the Ravens trying to win the game with a last-second field goal.
The rookie kicker, Tyler Loop, will try to win it and send the Ravens to the playoffs.
The amount of work that has gone in from the offseason to the preseason to the regular season now comes down to one kick where one team tomorrow will be packing up their lockers for the offseason as the other team will host a playoff game next week.
Tyler Loop made his only try tonight from 40. He is 30 of 33 on the season. He has not missed from inside 50 yards. This will be a 44-yard attempt. It will come from the middle of the field. Here's the snap, the spot. The kick is on the way. It is no good. He missed it. It's wide to the right, and the Pittsburgh Steelers have won the division. The Steelers are going to the playoffs.
Wow. Steelers win it 26-24, and they advance to the playoffs. They will be hosting the Houston Texans on Monday night at 7:15. The playoffs will start on Saturday afternoon. The Rams at Carolina. That's at 3:30 on Saturday. Saturday at 7, Green Bay at Chicago. Sunday at noon, Buffalo at Jacksonville. 3:30 kickoff, San Francisco at Philadelphia. And the Chargers at New England. That's the Sunday night game with that Monday nighter, Houston at Pittsburgh. College football playoffs continue this week. Semifinal game is Thursday between Miami and Ole Miss. They kick off at 6:30 in the Fiesta Bowl, and the Peach Bowl in Atlanta on Friday will be Indiana and Oregon. The national championship is January 19th in Miami. The FCS national championship is tonight. It's Illinois State and Montana State. They kick off in Nashville at 6:30. In Southern Illinois in hoops, nice win for them. Salukis win at Belmont, 68-67. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM. KMOX.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. The news of 2025.
United States military attacking shipwrecked sailors.
December.
We're taking the fight to the enemy, and we can already tell it's working.
The first tanker seizure since the U.S. began a costly military buildup in the Caribbean.
Investigators still have not said how Rob and Michelle Reiner were killed.
Our local law enforcement absolutely cannot work with ICE.
COVID-era healthcare subsidies are expected to skyrocket at the end of the year.
For all the news of 2026, stay with 104.1 FM KMOX.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
Now the news at 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 7:50 and time to check in once again with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, North 270 is getting better, Debbie. It's still slow, though, from Tesson Ferry all the way up to Manchester, and then approaching Clayton Road up to 64 is busy. South 270, south of 364 down to Ladue, there's a couple of heavy pockets going that direction, as well as an alternate route. A lot of folks have been going 141 this morning. There's still a solid jam just north of Bowles, and it goes all the way up through 44, pretty much all the way up to Marshall Road in Valley Park. Gets better once you get past that point. Northbound 55, still got a backup from the Union Road overpass. It's heavy and slow all the way up to about Holly Hills. Eastbound Highway 64, there's some slow traffic McKnight in through about Hanley. Westbound 64, that's a little more congested from the Science Center headed out to Big Bend, and then Lindbergh out to Spady's a little slow. And they still have the right lane block for this crash. Westbound 64 just west of 159. Traffic's jammed back pretty close to Highway 50 now. That's the exit just east of 159 in Fairview Heights as you go westbound. Next update is 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg's got a good one for us. Sunny and a high of 59. You can just tell looking outside, it's going to be a beautiful day. Increasing clouds tonight, low 48. Tomorrow, more sun, high 57. Wednesday, mostly sunny and pleasant, high of 61 degrees. Currently, we have sun. It's 35 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 7:52. A Paris court finds 10 people guilty of cyberbullying France's First Lady.
The 10 were found guilty of spreading false claims that First Lady Brigitte Macron is transgender. But the big legal battle is still to come in the U.S., where the Macrons are suing right-wing influencer Candace Owens for voicing similar conspiracy theories about the First Lady's gender. Vicki Barker, CBS News.
Health officials fear another spike in flu cases now that the holidays are behind us.
Cases in December. Infectious disease specialist Dr. Monica Gandhi at the University of California, San Francisco, says the flu likely spread even more during all those holiday gatherings.
Give it 2 more weeks, then hopefully it'll start coming down.
She says if you do catch the flu, Tamiflu can help.
This can really reduce your duration of symptoms and make you feel a lot better.
Dr. Gandhi says it's not too late to get a flu shot. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Weight loss drugs have now impacted the menu at a popular restaurant chain. We get that from Chris Sedens.
Olive Garden has now altered its menu, now catering to people whose eating habits are shifting, meaning more protein options and smaller portions. Dina Shanker of Bloomberg says despite reduced ability to eat big meals,
GLP-1 users actually spend a bit more at restaurants. And so I would say that while you might see like people that may not have gone to Olive Garden at all because they would say, oh, they have such big portions and I don't want that food, now have a new reason to go there.
Shanker says these days we're seeing a convergence of a number of trends, including GLP-1s for weight loss. And restaurants like Olive Garden are doing their best to cater to those people.
Waymos were spotted in the St. Louis area this weekend, with a few downtown, not far from our studios here at KMOX. Waymo is an autonomous taxi company. However, the Waymos spotted did have drivers operating the vehicles. Waymo announced months ago they intend to expand into St. Louis and other cities, but would begin with a driver behind the wheel before implementing their autonomous fleet.
100 years ago, the United States set out to create a roadway stretching from the Midwest to the Pacific coast. Our sister station is at the end of Route 66.
In Santa Monica, the city is setting up for additional events as our locations in 8 states over the next 10 months. Jim Harris, the executive director of the Santa Monica Pier Corporation, points out technically Route 66 doesn't end at the pier.
It actually ends at the corner of Lincoln and Olympic in Santa Monica. And that's because the highway system, the U.S. highway system, has been constructed such that it's completely fluid. So a highway ends where it meets another highway. If you end your journey at the pier, you're not meeting a highway, you're meeting the ocean.
But a technical end of a highway isn't really that inspiring.
If you've driven 2,448 miles from Chicago, are you going to end your journey at Lincoln and Olympic in Santa Monica? No. You want to see the ocean, right? And experience the beach. So during the time when Route 66 was a commissioned highway, you could drive your car literally to the end of the Santa Monica Pier. And that was the allure that made the Santa Monica Pier the traditional end or the romantic end or the celebrated end of Route 66.
So think nostalgia, a little magic, and a little more this year as Route 66 hits 100. In Santa Monica, I'm Pete Demetrio, KNX News 97.1 FM.
If you want to know more about events celebrating Route 66, go to Missouri66.org.
It's 7:56.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm, American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
7:58. Roger Brand, you are in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, it's still slow on North 270, not jammed like it was before, but it's still busy from a little south of Gravois, pretty much all the way up to 64. The southbound road on 270 coming down through Ladue, that looks a lot better. Eastbound 64 is still a little busy. McKnight through Hanley, westbound 64, Hampton to Big Bend, and Lindbergh out through Spady is still slow. Alternate route traffic on 141. You're still backed up south of Hawkins all the way up across the Merrimack pretty much. It's pretty solid bumper to bumper on that run, that stretch of 141 northbound. Northbound 55 from Bayless up to River to Perry. You're on the brakes. And on the Illinois side, they're still working this crash. Westbound 64 west of 159, the right lane blocked. It's backed up near 50. Next update at 8:10 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Monday, January 5th. We've got clear skies right now and 34 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey, and a new law in Illinois steps up urgency for missing persons cases.
I'm Tom Ackerman. Megan Lynch comes up next. She will go in depth on what's next for Venezuela.
Slow tornado recovery has destroyed more businesses. We'll get the details from Sean Malone.
How you can do a social media detox for the new year. How about that?
Megan Lynch will have more. And by the way, the weather this week, delightful. It's going to get up to 64 degrees later this week.
I'll be back on the Gas House Gang at noon. It's 8.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Pfizer.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife were whisked from a detention center in Brooklyn to federal court in Lower Manhattan this morning, first by helicopter, then armored vehicle. Correspondent Matt Gutman is outside the courthouse.
Maduro is facing 4 federal charges, including conspiracy to commit narco-terrorism, conspiracy to import cocaine, and weapons possession charges. Maduro was first indicted by the Trump administration in 2020, and that indictment has now been updated with new charges and new defendants.
Venezuela's Supreme Court has ruled Maduro's vice president is the nation's new president. She's already been sworn in as she faces threats from President Trump. Correspondent Weijia Jiang is at the White House.
After Trump announced over the weekend the U.S. would run Venezuela, Trump told The Atlantic in a phone interview if she doesn't do what's right, she is going to pay a very big price. And he issued another warning, saying Rodriguez needs to give the U.S. total access to the country's oil reserves, or else.
She will face a situation probably worse than Maduro.
Trump administration officials are planning to brief members of Congress on the operation that led to the Maduro's arrests. Virginia's Democratic Senator Tim Kaine tells CBS Mornings those officials have a lot of explaining to do.
They need to explain why this is legal. I believe it's an illegal action because we're not supposed to be at war without a vote of Congress. They need to tell us why it's a smart thing to do.
The first trial gets underway in Texas today in law enforcement's failed response to the 2022 Uvalde school shooting. KRLD's Chris Fox has details from Austin.
Former Uvalde School District police officer Adrian Gonzalez faces 29 counts of child endangerment and abandonment. He's accused of failing to engage the gunman at Robb Elementary after hearing gunshots and not following his active shooter training. His attorney, Nico LaHood.
He feels he's innocent. He feels all he did was show up to try to help those children.
19 students and 2 teachers were killed in the shootings. A court in Paris has found almost a dozen people guilty of cyberbullying President Emmanuel Macron's wife. CBS's Vicky Barker is at the foreign desk. The 10 were found guilty of spreading false claims that First Lady Brigitte Macron is transgender. But the big legal battle is still to come in the U.S., where the Macrons are suing right-wing influencer Candace Owens for voicing similar conspiracy theories about the First Lady's gender. The French defendants were also found guilty of posting malicious comments about the Macron 24-year age gap.
CBS News Radio is your home for breaking news. With our team of reporters around the country and the world, we give you the coverage you can trust.
At 8:03, we have partly cloudy skies, 35 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch. We continue to stay on top of the mess at the Sheriff's Department. The power to appoint the interim sheriff of St. Louis City has turned into a petty fight between the alderman and the mayor.
Mayor Kara Spencer blames Aldermanic President Megan Green for not sticking to their agreement to join in the city's lawsuit, which argues the mayor has the authority to name an interim sheriff.
President of the board had decided to go a different way and instead intervened in the lawsuit in a confrontational manner. And that was against the agreement that we had made.
However, KMOX has reviewed documentation that shows the mayor and city councilor initially said in October the Board of Aldermen get to choose the interim sheriff, only to backtrack, calling it complicated, and eventually saying in their legal filings it is the mayor's responsibility. Mayor Spencer also blames lack of communication between President Green and the board, causing a rift between her and the aldermen. KMOX spoke to over 2/3 of those aldermen. Some blame the mayor, some blame President Green, but a majority say neither is blameless. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
While the St. Louis mayor and board of aldermen fight over who has authority to appoint the interim sheriff, a third entity is weighing in. Attorney General Catherine Hanaway seeking a temporary restraining order against the city to block them from naming the interim sheriff. KMOX legal analyst Brad Young tells KMOX, depending on how the law is interpreted, the governor could be the one who picks the interim sheriff.
Under the Missouri Constitution, the governor has a general appointment authority unless otherwise noted by law.
Young says the law says the county board of commissioners would normally choose the interim sheriff.
But since St. Louis is not in a county, that may not apply. Also, the Board of Aldermen is not necessarily a board of commissioners.
Young does say, in his opinion, the Board of Aldermen should count as the Board of Commissioners. Much like the Democrats, the St. Louis City Republican Central Committee also hopes to pick their nomination in the sheriff's special election at their meeting next week. Chair Kirk Hilsinger says St. Louis being a predominantly Democratic city, he would be open to a candidate who is not a registered Republican running under their ticket.
Hayden is doing a far better job than Alfred Montgomery has been doing. So being an actual Republican in the environment that we have in St. Louis City is not necessarily a requirement.
Their next meeting is January 8th. Some students in the region still have off school today, but students at Jennings High School won't be returning to the classroom until January 12th. Repairs are ongoing at the school after a pipe burst during the winter break. Water was flowing out the doors of the school when district staff and the Jennings Fire Department arrived on the scene. Students will do virtual classes tomorrow through the rest of the week. 2 restaurants on Del Mar closing their doors for good due to a slow recovery from May's tornado. Steve's Hot Dogs and the Fountains Del Mar locations will close down. Owner Danny Eichenhorst tells KMOX they're unable to remain open any longer with their regular customers displaced.
So a lot of people that are living in hotels are living with family. And unfortunately, it was the people that were living in that area before the storm that were our bread and butter customers.
Eichenhorst says she understands officials have their hands full, but says the recovery progress has been too slow and not enough is being done to support struggling businesses. We'll go in depth with Eichenhorst coming up at the bottom of the hour. A deal to buy dozens and dozens of JCPenney department stores, including the one at Mid Rivers Mall in St. Peters, has apparently fallen through. Copper Property terminated a deal to sell 119 properties to Onyx Partners of Boston for an almost $950 million all-cash deal. The reason cited was Onyx failing to complete the transaction as required by December 26th. According to the Business Journal, Onyx disputes that and blames Copper. From the business desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com, KSDK moved into their new studios this weekend, becoming the latest news organization to leave downtown. Mayor Kara Spencer says she's saddened by the move and adds they're working to fix issues facing the city.
We're looking at addressing some of the, the other properties or businesses downtown to really improve the experience of being downtown.
KSDK will be staying in the city with their new studios located south of Forest Park. We'll check traffic and weather in 2 minutes. It's 8:08.
Hey, Cardinal Cowboy here. Who would have thought a car crash would have led to charities, TV shows, and cheering with the best fans in the world? I'm thankful for every day. And so are my friends at Renner Garage Door. They've been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. With help from trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, honest family-style service you can count on. So giddy up and get your free repair or replacement quote today. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER. The news of 2025.
All residents of Los Angeles County in danger.
January.
The entire town is gone.
An American Airlines flight colliding with an Army helicopter.
This is a difficult day for all of us at American Airlines.
A tremendous changing of the guard.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
President Donald Trump threatening 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada.
For all the news of 2026. Stay with 104.1 FM KMOX.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Hey, St. Louis City SC fans, mark your calendars now. The Boys in Red return to Energizer Park to kick off Season 4 Saturday, February 21st. And you could be there for the dawn of a new golden era of St. Louis soccer. Go to stlcitysc.com/tickets and reserve your seat now for the MLS home opener versus Charlotte FC. Limited quantities remain. See you soon, St. Louis.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Now the news at 1, the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
8:10, time for a check of the roads with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, we still got the crash in Metro East on westbound 64, just west of 159 at Fairview Heights. Traffic's jammed about midway back to 50. The right lane's blocked there. They're wrapping up a crash on northbound 21, right near 110, just south of 110. Traffic's still congested, but at one point it was jammed about midway back to Y. It's not quite as bad now, but you will still find delays. Northbound 270, that's still slow. 44 all the way up to Ladue. South 270 coming down to Ladue looks great. Eastbound 64, still some slow stuff. East of Lindbergh in through the Interbelt. Westbound 64, Hampton through to Big Bend's kind of heavy. Northbound 55, you still got a little bit of a slowdown. Bayless up to River to Pear and briefly past Loughborough after that. But otherwise, the rest of these interstates are in pretty good shape. Definitely more volume today, but not terrible. And things are starting to wind down. Don't forget at 8:30 is when they're scheduled to start doing road work eastbound 44 between Kings Highway and Grand, 8:30 to 6:30 tonight. They'll have those two right lanes closed, and that'll be every day this week through Thursday. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And just ahead on Total Information AM, we're going to tell you about a new missing persons law in the state of Illinois.
A nice day today with plenty of sunshine and a noticeably warmer afternoon, high 59. Clouds on the increase tonight, though 48. Clouds give way to some sun tomorrow, the high 57. Wednesday, mostly sunny, high 61. Expect some rain on Thursday. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
We have partly cloudy skies this morning, 38 degrees in Florissant. It's 33 in St. Peters and 35 downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. A new law in Illinois impacts how law enforcement handles missing person reports. With the start of the new year, any agencies that previously required a waiting period for a report to be filed will now be mandated to take a report immediately. Cook County Sheriff Thomas Dart was the driving force behind this legislation and joins me now. Sheriff, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, Megan, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
I'm curious what the story is behind this. Why did you champion this new law?
You know, Megan, it's something that came about from mine and my office's direct experience with this issue that really, I mean, I was interested in it. I'd done a little bit of work here and there, but it was when we started re-examining the Gacy case to try to identify the 5 young men who had been murdered by him but had never been identified. We had felt with today's technology, we'll be able to maybe close out a couple of these and bring some closure to the families. But in doing that, Megan, I just stumbled into the missing persons issue, and I was blown away. I'm a former prosecutor and a former legislator, and I had assumed this was an area that was so scientific, so regimented, that it would be just a very, very straightforward area. And when we started working on the Gacy case, my head just kept spinning on just the generic issue of missing persons and how ragingly chaotic it was from one end of the country to the other.
Why do law enforcement agencies sometimes have waiting periods?
You know, I'd like to tell you there's no good reason. I don't feel there's a good reason. What some people will tell you is that that's because people come back so quickly, and then in the meantime, then to go through not just all the paperwork, but then to enter someone into a database is not necessary because people come back traditionally, rather quickly, within hours usually after some people leave. And so I think their feeling is that it creates unnecessary, and not so much bureaucratic paperwork, but maybe some chaos. But at the end of the day, I can't conceive of how we could sit there and say, well, as opposed to getting an early jump on this case, we decided to wait a little bit because we didn't want to have more paperwork and more, entries to undo later on. I mean, that's not a good excuse.
Do you think in the John Wayne Gacy case and in looking at some of those reports that there could have made a difference if there was a law like this?
No two ways about it. I mean, the victims of John Gacy were a wild range of people, but the common thread being in they were young men, and the common thread being is that the majority of them, there had been some distance between them and family members, but there was quite a few of them where their families were actively looking for them immediately. And in many of the cases, they were told that, you have to wait a while, that, this isn't something that is we're going to look into yet, and he'll come back and all this other stuff. And it was frankly the last case that broke it open, the Peace case. And that was because this family was relentless immediately because their son was at his job and they were all sitting at home with a birthday cake waiting for a birthday celebration, and he didn't show up. And so it got things moving on his case immediately when there was other cases that there were family members that came forward right away. And could that have changed it? Yeah, I think it could have.
What do we know research-wise, statistics-wise, about the likelihood that someone will be found the longer that they are missing?
That's one of the things where the numbers are like incontrovertible, that the longer this case goes on, the least likely it is you're going to find someone. And there's actually like data points where it's like once it exceeds 30 days, 60 days, things like that, things get very difficult. So it's really, I can't emphasize enough to you, it's like when that first 24-hour period is where things really need to be up and moving quickly. And then also, to be honest with you, Megan, too, with certain unique subsets of people. So if you're talking about kids who are in maybe the foster care system or people who have disabilities of some nature, there's subsets where you have to move really quick for a range of reasons. And so, yeah, does it create a little bit more work for law enforcement agencies? Yeah, but frankly, that's what we signed up for. And so, yeah, but that's one, Megan. stats, the data is incontrovertible. The longer this takes, the less likely you're going to find somebody. So you have to move quick.
Outline for us what's supposed to happen under this new law. What steps are law enforcement agencies supposed to make when someone comes in and reports that someone is missing?
Well, it's requiring that law enforcement agencies do not have any type of waiting period on in their jurisdiction, so that when someone comes in, no matter what that timing is, they have to take a report at that point in time. It then, under the law, it adds some other requirements that, at a certain point you have to do searches of different databases. You have to collect evidence in a more timely fashion as well. We tried to take what we believe would be a model that could apply anywhere and layer it over every agency, but at the same time, keeping yourself aware of the fact that different agencies have different resources and all that, but reasonable deadlines. And there's nothing unreasonable saying, listen, person comes in, you take a missing person report immediately. You don't say, well, you got to wait 24 hours, make sure they didn't come home. No, you take the missing person report. And then the other parts of it will click in as well at different points down the road as well. And frankly, all reasonable things.
Is this being done in other states? Do they have similar laws?
Some do. I know we had looked at Missouri in particular. They had some stuff on the books long before we did that was pretty thoughtful. Very thoughtful. And some other states have it as well, but Missouri sort of jumped out at me as one of them. And it really, to be honest with you, Megan, it sort of like speaks to my underlying point here. There's no way that throughout this country, we all should not be doing the same thing in this area. It's very straightforward that you should not have to roll the dice based on where your loved one went missing, based on what jurisdiction you're in. It should be the same thing. And the tools that are available, they all should be using them. And I can just tell you within my own county, this was not happening. So it's not something where I'm pointing my finger at all these other places. No. Within my own county, there was towns and villages where they were not taking missing person reports for days. They were closing cases out where they had not found anyone, dead or alive, and clearly had done none of the basic work as far as trying to get fingerprints, dental records, things like that. So this wasn't something where it was, chastising someone from another area. It's like within our own county, we had a wild range, which once again is the point there. There should be not a range of responses based on what town or village you're in, and it should be the same. It shouldn't be based on what state you're in. We should all be doing the same thing. And this stuff's straightforward. And with all the changes and the DNA world and all the other things in the forensic world that have gotten better and clearer, to not be using all those across the board is really shameful.
Sheriff, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
Oh, God, no. I appreciate you doing this, Megan. Take care.
You as well. That is Cook County Sheriff Thomas Dart joining me this morning here on KMOX. Let's get the latest on your ride into work with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, we're still slow on northbound 270 from north of Big Bend all the way up to Ladue. Southbound's fine through there. Still seeing a little bit of a backup northbound 21 approaching 110 where we had an earlier crash. Not jammed like it was, though, so it's an improvement. If you're on eastbound 64, there's still some slow traffic from McKnight to the Interbound. Westbound 64, Hampton to Bellevue, still slow. Northbound Tesson Ferry, pretty good backup coming up to Rivas. It's been congested most of the morning there. And westbound 64, still some heavy traffic. Westbound, both sides of 159. That's due to a crash that was in the right lane at that location in Fairview Heights. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Make sure you stay with us here on Total Information AM. We're going to look at what's next for Venezuela now that the president of that country is in U.S. custody. Let's get a check of the forecast first, though. Looks like we're looking for plenty of sunshine today, a noticeably warmer afternoon. We're expecting a high of 59 degrees, increasing clouds tonight, an overnight low of 48. Right now we have partly cloudy skies, 35 degrees downtown at the Arch.
Sponsored by Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Liu. Yes, Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan. Have you noticed loose bricks or missing mortar around your house on the walls, the patios, the walkways, the porch, or the chimneys? If so, you need to call
Morelli Tuck Pointing. 314-645-1387. You might need one of two things: solid tuck pointing, the removal of old mortar with the replacement of new mortar throughout an entire wall or chimney, or maybe just spot tuck pointing. Spot tuck pointing involves the tuck pointing of a particular wall, a chimney, or other masonry surface in an area where it's needed the most. One example might be settlement cracks, usually found above or below windows or doorways. 314-645-1387. Call the company that the Brennans have called when we've needed tuck pointing. Morelli Tuck Pointing, the masonry specialists. Winner of the Angie's List Super Service Award every year since 2005. 314-645-1387, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage, no medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
This holiday season, when you get them STIHL, batteries are included. Buy select battery tool sets and get a free extra battery. Visit STIHLUSA.com for gift ideas and seasonal savings. Happy holidays from STIHL. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
You're back with Total Information AM on KMOX, and one bit of breaking news this morning from the Associated Press. Tim Walz, the Democrats' 2024 vice presidential candidate, has announced that he will not run for a third term as Minnesota governor. Let's turn our attention now to Venezuela. The ousted President Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores make their first court appearance in New York today on charges related to drug trafficking. They were captured by U.S. forces Saturday. With more, I'm joined by CBS News Pentagon reporter Eleanor Watson. Eleanor, thanks for your time this morning.
Good morning.
So just back us up a little bit. What justification is the Trump administration giving for this action?
The administration has said that at its heart, this was a law enforcement operation supported by the military because Maduro has been indicted in New York on charges of drug trafficking. That is a little bit murky justification considering how much military power we saw go in overnight, Friday into Saturday, to capture Maduro and bring him out. About 150 aircraft launched from 20 different bases, sending Delta Force commandos into the home of Maduro and bringing him out to a warship before he was flown to New York. The administration is justifying that through law enforcement, but obviously Democrats, especially in Congress, are questioning whether or not that violated international law.
What do we know right now about future U.S. involvement in Venezuelan affairs?
This is the big question because President Trump turned some head scratching when he said on Saturday that the U.S. will now run the country. Secretary of State Rubio, Marco Rubio, on Face the Nation yesterday kind of walked that back a little bit, saying that the U.S. will run policy while some of the regime's leaders are still in power, like Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, and will coerce them to affect policy in a way that aligns with the U.S. And they'll coerce them by maintaining this quasi-blockade on oil tankers in the Caribbean Sea that's made possible because there are about a dozen U.S. warships out there putting pressure on one of Venezuela's most important resources for its economy.
Speaking of oil, I understand that the president has asked U.S. companies to enter those markets there. Any reaction from the industry?
I haven't seen much yet. Chevron is the only American company that still operates in Venezuela. The administration has made an argument that Venezuela stole American oil by nationalizing the oil industry. under Hugo Chavez a few decades ago, which meant most of the American companies came out. Chevron, in a statement, has said that they're continuing to work in the U.S., and I think we'll see in the days ahead other companies at least speculating about how involved they'll be going forward.
Eleanor, thank you so much. Appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
That is CBS News Pentagon reporter Eleanor Watson joining us this morning here on Total Information AM. We're going to talk more about this coming up at 8:41. Professor Emeritus of International Relations at Webster University is going to join us to give us some more insight into Venezuela. Coming up next, though, slow tornado recovery has now destroyed more businesses. Sean Malone will have the latest. The time check now, 8:27, sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
KMOX, celebrating 100 years. Presented by Purina. Your pet, our passion. Now, a KMOX pioneer.
Before he became one of the most celebrated broadcasters in America, Bob Costas launched his remarkable career right here at KMOX.
I was 22 years old when I came to KMOX.
Costas called play-by-play for the Spirits of St. Louis, hosted Open Line, and covered Mizzou basketball, all while honoring the sharp wit and subtle comic timing he displayed as a semi-regular on The Carney Show.
Jack Carney, he introduced me to the St. Louis audience beyond the basketball games that I was calling.
His 7 years at KMOX set the stage for a legendary national career. From hosting 12 Olympic Games to winning 29 Emmy Awards, Bob Costas has become one of the defining voices of American broadcasting, always proudly connected to the city where it all began. Bob Costas, a KMOX pioneer.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
8:30, let's see if there are any places you need to avoid on your ride into work. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, things are getting better around the area in general, Megan. They did call out for a crash 70 around St. Louis Avenue. It looks to me like it's eastbound, east of Tucker, right? That's what it actually would be, westbound 44 near the Dome. There's a short jam there coming into downtown on eastbound Highway 70, so just keep your eyes peeled and pay attention there. If you're on northbound 270, Doherty Ferry up to Ladue, that's still slow. Eastbound 64, still a little slow at the Interbelt. Westbound 64, just a little busy around Big Bend, not that bad. Northbound 141 is pretty much all back to normal. It's just some heavy traffic right through the 44 area. No longer any significant backups there. Still a little heavy northbound 21 at 110 where we had an earlier crash. 64 westbound has cleared out in Fairview Heights from that earlier crash as well. Next update at 8:40 from your Red Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan of McKelvey Homes.
Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, plenty of sunshine today. A noticeably warmer afternoon. We're expecting a high around 60. Right now we have partly cloudy skies, 35 degrees in downtown St. Louis. The fountain on Del Mar and Steve's Hot Dogs shutting down, saying a slow tornado recovery is to blame. KMOX's Sean Malone spoke with owner Danny Eichenhorst about the tough decision.
Definitely something that we have worked really hard to avoid, but it has been just a steady struggle since the tornado, unfortunately. A lot of our neighbors are gone from that neighborhood, and unfortunately the progress is glacial in terms of getting people back into that area. And we definitely would have stayed longer if we could have, but we just simply don't have the resources to hold on as long as it's going to take to bring back that area.
Is this a permanent closure, or are you going to keep the property in hopes that maybe sometime, just for example's sake, in a year from now, 2 years from now, you could reopen?
Unfortunately, this will be a permanent closure for us. The property is owned by someone else, and they've got some hopes to sort of keep that area vibrant and to bring in somebody else that has resources and can kind of work their way up in that area.
When you say the progress has been glacial, can you kind of elaborate on that a little bit? What in particular has been too slow?
I think that there has, a lot of people in our area are struggling with insurance payouts, and with there being enough people to do the work, even if they do have insurance payouts to actually recover those properties and to bring people back into the neighborhood. If you look at any street on the north or the south side of where we're at there are just still a lot of people that are living in hotels, they're living with family. And unfortunately, it was the people that were living in that area before the storm that were our bread and butter customers that came through daily to keep us open. For the last several months, really since May, the bulk of our customers have been construction workers working in that area to try and recover. And with the weather change, even those have gone. And so it's made it impossible for us to really keep our doors open at this point.
What more could city, state, federal politicians do or do better to prevent this from happening?
I think that when you look at the priorities of the city's recovery plan, they've got a lot that they're juggling. There's some significant challenges, and I have all the empathy in the world for them because there's a lot to overcome, and certainly the residents are a huge and important focus. But you have to also consider that these businesses are economic engines for this area and that they employ people in the communities. And when the businesses are lost, the neighborhood is lost and there's no reason for people to come back anymore. And so there needs to be some attention and some aid given to these neighborhoods and to these businesses to ensure that these places remain open before it's too late. When you sort of look at the recovery roadmap and the timeline for supporting these businesses, real recovery for the businesses comes long after they've all closed. And I think that needs to be moved up in the recovery timeline and quick.
That is Danny Eichenhorst with KMOX's Sean Malone.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take DayQuil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the DayQuil.
Undo your flu symptoms with DayQuil Intense Flu. DayQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
DayQuil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Brought to you by Eamon Gantner and Capriano, YourEstateMatters.com.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Smart rings have been catching on with consumers, offering many of the same sleep and wellness insights as smartwatches, but with a more discreet design. According to IDC, smart rings saw a 49% jump in shipments last year. Aura launched its first smart ring in 2015 and hit $1 billion in revenue last year. The next frontier in this space is likely to be the integration of blood work data. Checking on your money, S&P and NASDAQ futures are heading for a higher open. Technology shares are driving the gains this morning. Chevron and other oil stocks are jumping after President Trump pledged to revive Venezuela's energy sector. And IKEA is facing one of the toughest periods in its history, with flat sales, soaring timber costs, and brutal competition from the likes of Amazon and Temu. Profit at the furniture giant plunged 26% last year. IKEA has been overhauling its business by cutting prices and speeding up deliveries. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Many of you know that my inspiration for becoming an accident attorney was my brother Tim, who was rendered a quadriplegic at age 18. I didn't know what a personal injury lawyer was or what they did, but I soon did. Tim was treated terribly by the insurance company, and I became enraged. It was a constant delay and deny. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Tim later worked with me for 27 years. Last year, my hero died at age 65. You can see my eulogy for him by visiting mybrothertim.com. He was one hell of a man. Because of Tim, together we built the largest injury firm in the world, and our clients are treated the way I would want my family to be treated. At Morgan & Morgan, nobody is a nobody and everybody is a somebody. If you need our help, visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer. See you soon, Tim. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Fairwinds River's Edge is more than a place to live. It's a place to belong. Come see why we have been voted Best Independent Senior Living Community for 4 years in a row by U.S. News and World Report. We think you'll like it here, and the experts agree. Come see us for yourself. Call to schedule a tour and complimentary lunch, or to learn more about our upcoming app university that can help enhance your everyday life. Find us online at fairwindsriversedge.com.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
This is 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. Enhanced tax credits that have helped Americans offset the cost of Affordable Care Act health insurance the last 4 years expired overnight. A Paris court has found 10 people guilty of cyberbullying France's first lady by spreading false claims that she was transgender. And the U.S. Figure Skating Championships officially kick off in St. Louis today and tomorrow, when hundreds of junior and novice competitors gather at Centene Community Ice Center. Let's see how things are rolling on the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we've still got our crash downtown, Megan, on eastbound Highway 70, just right at the Musial Veterans Bridge. One lane's blocked, one lane's open, so it's jammed back pretty close to St. Louis Avenue on eastbound Highway 70. No delays yet. Scheduled to be doing road work starting now. Eastbound 44 between Kings Highway and Grand, 2 right lanes closed now through 6:30 tonight, and that'll be all the way through Thursday. They'll be doing that every day this week. Northbound 270, Manchester up through 64, still a little heavy. Eastbound 64 still a little slow at 170. Otherwise, the rest of the interstates look great. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And a quick check of the forecast for today. It looks like we'll have plenty of sunshine, warmer, a high of 59 right now. We do have sunny skies, 35 degrees downtown at the Arch. Thanks for listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Deposed Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro is set to make his first appearance today in an American courtroom on narco-terrorism charges. He was captured by U.S. forces in a nighttime military operation over the weekend. Joining me in studio this morning is Daniel Hellinger, Professor Emeritus of International Relations at Webster University and an author and editor of several books on Venezuela. Thank you so much for coming in studio with me this morning.
My pleasure to talk with you and your audience.
So, in a nutshell, to start us off, what do you feel like our listeners really need to know about the situation in Venezuela?
Situation in Venezuela is very hard to read because we can see that there have been large anti-American demonstrations in major cities. On the other hand, Mr. Maduro was an unpopular president, and so it's become difficult to actually gauge the public reaction in Venezuela overall. My feeling is that people still in Venezuela feel very strongly against the military intervention on the part of the United States.
Whenever this happens, I know the concerns are always that it's going to destabilize a country. What do you see happening right now in Venezuela?
Well, you've got a president, Delcy Rodriguez, who is probably one of the more level-headed people that was in the Maduro government, but she's kind of vacillated at times, taking a very hard stance against the invasion and highly critical, as I think is fully appropriate, toward President Trump. And then on the other hand, talking about looking for ways to cooperate with the U.S. And the big question here is oil. For Venezuelans, oil is kind of the lifeblood of the economy. And even ones who are very strongly against Maduro are likely to react very negatively to any implication that the United States can come in and, as Trump has put it, take back our oil. They think of it as their oil.
Now, when we look at oil, this obviously will impact relationships with other countries in the region and across the world. What do you see as that impact?
Well, I tell you, a lot depends on how seriously the Trump regime is on in their threats to take out presidents in Colombia and Mexico, for example, and to seize territory in Greenland. This could bring about a very wide response, not just through the hemisphere, but throughout the world. And in particular, since they've talked about having American oil companies go back in and essentially saying to other countries in the world, well, you can't pump oil. China has assets and it has oil fields in Venezuela. So does Russia. And so do a number of European countries as well. So if the U.S. is going to say only American companies can go in and pump oil out of Venezuela, it's like we're going back to the 19th century when essentially a colonial power could say, we want this colony's treasures and no one else can come in and do anything economically relevant within those countries.
What about Venezuela's ties to Cuba and the relationship with the United States?
As well, I frankly think Secretary of State Rubio, his main target is not Venezuela. He wants to bring down the Cuban regime. The Cubans lost at least 32 personnel, probably in the security detail of Maduro. And of course, they've had a hard time getting oil. Venezuela's a sovereign state. Cuba is a sovereign state. Venezuela wants to provide oil to the Cuban government, which is its right. The Cubans, however, are going to be even more hard-pressed as they have been. I mean, they've created some of their own economic problems, but this boycott, this embargo against Cuba that the United States has unilaterally imposed since the Kennedy administration really has strained the Cuban economy, and one wonders how long it can continue to resist.
Many people are comparing this to the ouster of Manuel Noriega in Panama. Any similarities?
Oh, there's some similarities. Certainly, that was a form of kidnapping, a lot of us feel. And he was brought to the same court in New York to be tried. I think in the case of Noriega, this was in the 1980s when the United States was we call it anti-communist crusade in Central America. And Noriega was playing both sides. He was playing he was working with the leftist Sandinista government. He was supportive of the leftist rebels in El Salvador. And at the same time, he was actually working with the CIA in helping the right-wing forces in those countries. Actually, they exported drugs to the United States. So that's different in this case. But the CIA has been operating in Venezuela at least since June. They've openly admitted that. And there's some very strong similarities in this situation.
Finally, I guess for our listeners and for you, what questions do you feel need to be asked over the coming days and weeks?
I think we have to ask, what is going to be the overall response in Latin America? If this expands into some sort of campaign in Colombia against the elected government of and legitimately elected government of Petro, and even to Brazil, and especially to Mexico. I mean, if he is serious about starting to undertake military operations in Mexico, it will destabilize the border. It will destabilize the relationship with our closest neighbor. And I think that has to be watched carefully. And then we have to sort of look and continue to watch in Venezuela to see what happens and whether or not Delcy Rodriguez, the new president of Venezuela, has the ability to sort of to run the country. Then one last thing I'll bring up is what's going to happen with Maria Corina Machado. She was the opposition leader. There was a stand-in for her in the presidential election that Maduro obviously stole. And she cannot be happy about being kind of put on the sidelines by the Trump administration. Frankly, I think if she were to get in power, it would be even more destabilizing. But nonetheless, that's not the way she sees it. And it could get very messy if she and her supporters also, it'll be just a morass because you'll have her supporters on the right and you'll have the remaining Chavistas on the left, both very upset with the government for different reasons. And that could get very messy.
Professor, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
That is Professor Daniel Hellinger, Professor Emeritus of International Relations at Webster University. Just ahead, we're going to look at how you can do a social media detox for the new year.
Experience a celebration of movement and music as the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra and St. Louis Dance Theater join together for Stravinsky and Debussy Music and Motion. This adventurous collaboration reimagines Stravinsky's Pulcinella Suite in an entirely new way that celebrates powerful partnerships between dance and music. January 10th and 11th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com. Winterfest is back for the 10th year in Keener Plaza, now through January 11th. Enjoy Winterfest traditions, including ice skating, s'mores, and igloos underneath 100,000 twinkling lights in the shadow of the Gateway Arch. Grab a bite or drink from downtown favorites and enjoy a family-friendly New Year's Eve fireworks spectacular. Winterfest, hosted by Gateway Arch Park Foundation, presented by Bank of America and Worldwide Technology. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
I'm Megan Lynch. Thank you for tuning in this morning to Total Information AM here on KMOX. This might be a New Year's resolution for you to do a social media detox. Well, we found the perfect person to come in and help us with this. Julie Smith, she's a media expert, Webster University instructor. She's also a public speaker and author. Julie, thank you for helping us with this.
Oh, you bet.
Why do we need a social media detox?
Well, we might not, but if you're wondering if you might, do you experience a lot of feelings of envy? Do you have trouble sleeping? Are you always checking it? Do you find yourself doom scrolling? Does it affect your mood? Is it causing you trouble at work or school? Or are you neglecting your body? Are you getting enough rest? Like if you feel any of these, it might be time to consider a detox.
I
I know a lot of people, for example, like before they go to bed, they'll get on like Instagram, reels.
It's a time.
And just,
oh my gosh, and it takes up so much time.
Yeah.
It takes up so much time.
But it feels like at the time it might feel therapeutic because you're laughing at things or, but what does it really do to us?
Yeah, well, there's all those studies about the blue light, right, that keeps us from sleeping. And that's tough, especially if it's a habit. My habit is that I play hearts online. I have a little hearts app. I play cards before I go to bed. And so it's habit breaking in my case, which I think would be really difficult for people. But one of the things they suggest before you start a detox is to ask yourself, why? Why do I use this? Why do I feel like I need to stop? And so some things that they suggest are to turn off notifications. Like that do not disturb button is lovely, right? Delete apps. Don't just take them off your phone, but actually delete them. Change your home screen. And I think this is a really interesting piece of advice. It says, go grayscale. Like you can make your phone black and white. And what they say is that, it's so colorful and pretty and the icons are all so nice that makes it really appealing for us to check our phones more. Whereas if it was just black and white and gray, we probably wouldn't check it as often. Another thing they suggest is to do it with a buddy so that you're accountable to someone. Tell people that you're doing it and be aware of your triggers, like when you stand in line or when you're at a red light or when you're going to the bathroom. Like when are the triggers that really typically lead you to grab your phone and scroll on social media?
Is it hard to go cold turkey?
I did cold turkey with Facebook in 2018, and it was lovely. It wasn't hard at all. But of course, I'm on Instagram, which I know makes no sense.
Should you announce it on social media that you're taking a break from social media?
I did, and I know that's so funny, but I wrote a blog post why I'm quitting Facebook tomorrow. And I posted it on December 30th, which I know is ironic, but I guess a part of me also wanted, not like anybody cares, but I guess I just felt better in case someone was trying to reach me and I wanted them to know why I never replied.
Now, what happens if you mentioned deleting? What happens if you take a break and like someone pirates your account? They take over your account.
Oh, that's a risk.
So you have to monitor it.
That's a risk. Well, even if you monitor it, people can still hack your account.
That's true.
That's true. But what they're saying, some of the effects of this, if you actually do a detox, that it reduces your stress, it improves your self-esteem because you're not looking at everyone having a much better life than you, even though they're not, right?
They're not. They just post the good things.
It's just like those Christmas letters everybody sends out, right? They also say that it can enhance your focus and make you more emotionally resilient. So I certainly experienced that by taking Facebook out of my life. But they also suggest a phone-free bedroom, and I have yet to do that because I have to play hearts at night.
Well, that's right? What my alarm is on my phone.
I know. And I've had people say, well, you can go to Walgreens and buy an alarm clock. They also suggest for the first hour when you wake up in the morning to not touch your phone. And
that's hard.
That's really hard because you want to know what the weather is, right? I mean, or just at the very basic.
I just check to see if I've gotten a message too. I do put my phone on the known, like the sleep
do not
mode
disturb,
or whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It also said to replace with a hobby. And it reminds me of something that I ask my students because I say, is your phone a tool or is it a hobby? And I think for many people, the phone is the hobby. But if you do a detox and you decide to go back, what they recommend is to really curate your feed. If there are accounts that make you feel anxious or less than, don't follow them anymore. Mute them.
Well, and there are ways like with people that you are quote unquote friends with that you can just kind of turn them off.
You can mute them.
Yeah,
yes.
without them knowing that you're not paying attention to their feed anymore.
I know. I remember on Facebook when I would mute accounts, I always kind of secretly wish that the mute button worked in real life too.
Well, and I think what's really hard though, and it can't just be me just because I'm a reporter. I like to see what's going on in people's lives. Like, I guess that's kind of creepy, really.
But like the first thing I ask my husband when he's on his iPad in the morning is, what's going on in the world I need to know about? We don't get the newspaper delivered anymore. And so that is our source of information. So I think for a lot of people who are really into current events, a social media detox would be hard. So I would, well, first of all, remember social media platforms aren't the best place for official news. And you can still check news websites even if you're not on social media.
Yes, ma'am. I like that.
Yeah,
All right.
KMOX.com.
Yeah. All right. Good luck, folks, with your social media detox, and Happy New Year, Julie Smith.
Thanks.
The big news over the weekend that the U.S. captured Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro. We will chat with retired Lieutenant General Mark Hertling about what that means for the U.S., Venezuela, and the world. Plus, Andrew Egger, White House correspondent with The Bulwark. It all starts at 9 a.m. on The Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Money, sponsored by University of Maryland Global Campus.